Hello, welcome everybody. We got a bunch of people jumping on. We'll say hi here for a few minutes. Give people a few extra minutes to jump on. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a number in the chat box if you can hear me. Whatever your favorite number is. There we go. Jonathan's favorite number is 69. All right. I like how you think, Jonathan. Hey, thank you. Thank you, John Rodriguez. Welcome. Sense of humor, that's right. So, looks like a few of our panelists are going to be a little bit late, but hopefully they'll be joining us soon. Oh, let's see, we got Fletch is with us. You can unmute yourself when you get a chance, Fletch, and just say hi. Let me know. Make sure everything's up and running for you guys. Let's see. Welcome, Craig. Welcome, Frank. Welcome, Galen. Welcome, George. It's Jamie Buck. Welcome, Jeff. John. Another John. Another John. I guess this is in alphabetical order by first names. Welcome, Josh. Raymond. Safira. Hopefully I said that wrong. Right. Safra. Safira. Welcome, Chandra. Tim. Tony. Troy. Ty. It sounds like I'm in a hallway. Let me see if
David, this thing is loading up, man. Holy cow.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, Fletch?
I'm good, man.
Tim,
I'm good.
I'm going to switch to a different microphone, and you let me know if maybe it gets better. I have two microphones
Yeah,
here.
you sound kind of hollow right now. It's all good.
Okay, how about this? Is that better?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'd get a little closer to the mic if you can, but quality's better. Yep.
So
there we go.
$100 microphone is better than the microphone on the $20 webcam.
That's how it works. That's how it works, buddy.
It looks like Scott and Eric are going to be a little bit late. Oh, wait. And then, Michael has joined us. Michael, feel free to unmute yourself and say hi real quick.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry for the delay on that. I didn't have the GoToWebinar link in my calendar. I had like a Zoom link set up. So
Michael Thessalona
no worries.
in the house.
We still have a few other people that are going to join us, and maybe we'll get started real quick.
All right.
A bunch of attendees already, 32 and counting, so that's great. Although some people have duplicates. I guess they're trying to log in, maybe it doesn't work or whatever. We'll get started here in a second.
Yeah, are we webcamming it?
We're trying to fix.
We can webcam it. Yeah, I can turn on my webcam.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yep. I've just turned on my webcam.
Cool.
Hey, how's it going, Michael?
There it is.
I do have a little bit of visuals to put on the screen, but I think
look at you with your background and all those games or whatever you got on that shelf.
Yeah, this is actually my
Fancy.
home office. Those are Dominion. Yeah. You've ever seen the game Dominion? There's a bunch of expansions. It's like a strategy game. It's sort of like a little mini Magic. I'm a total nerd. My son loves it. Look at those faces. Tim, hey, how's it going? Well, we'll give, let's see. So Scott has joined us as well. So we're just waiting for Eric, but I think we'll go ahead and get started, and I think he'll join us real soon. As I can go ahead and let's see.
Hey, David, I also don't see the notification for this being recorded. If you want to,
it says stop recording.
Okay, so I just checking, right?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think it's recording.
Or I'm a chicken. Those are very close.
Yeah, I see on the very bottom a red dot saying.
I do see it. See, Michael's helping me out. Yeah.
Oh, Sherilyn, thank you. I Dominion, another Dominion fan, close to my heart, Sherilyn. So that's awesome. So can you guys see this little PowerPoint slide?
The cat. Yes.
Yeah.
The cat. Yes, I saw that, and it made me laugh really hard.
I can't see anything in the questions box though.
Okay. That's weird.
If you wanted to set that up or not, it's fine by me.
You know how to do that? I'm not like do I need to change your permissions or something? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because we're a panelist, we're not an organizer, and maybe that's why.
Make organizer.
I don't see anything either, Michael. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna make you guys organizers.
Yeah.
You're getting promoted.
Organizer, and yeah, now I can see all the questions. Cool. Yeah,
Okay,
that was
okay.
it.
Thank you for pointing that out. Let's see. I can't
Yeah.
make. I guess I can only have so many organizers. So Scott and Eric are gonna have to. Nope, stop it.
Oh,
Okay.
Tim. What's up,
So-
Scott
buddy?
Chef.
Yeah. We got some
Yeah.
people on.
And
I think Chef is still connecting, and so he'll pipe in whenever. And
Okay.
so kind of the idea that has been formulating and bouncing around in my mind for a long time, sort of around this quote up here, in that like a small group of people who are kind of focused, especially on similar things, come together and work together. Really, really incredible things can be accomplished. And part of that is also just no matter how awesome you think you are, or I think I am, we all have blind spots, and other people who have experience doing similar things, going after similar goals, falling into some holes or whatever, having issues that you're experiencing now, they've had those issues before, that can really make a huge difference in your business. And all of us, I assume, pretty much everybody on here is looking for world domination in whatever way that means. Your own world. And just this picture, this cat.
I've never seen that one. That's
Your own
amazing.
watermelon.
It was so serious, so serious.
Yeah.
And it's turning out that the people that are coming right now, and the people in this, it's going to be focused on SEO business. There is some experience among us, among kind of like more broad online business, but like SEO agencies, SEO lead gen, and Maps SEO. That's going to be a centerpiece in pretty much everybody's business so far that I've seen. So that's something to keep in mind. All right.
There he is.
Hey,
Eric.
Oh, there's Eric. Welcome, Eric. Feel free to unmute yourself if we get a chance. Somehow I can only make, Eric, I'm sorry, you can't see the questions. I can only make 3 organizers. So unfortunately, we can't hear you, Eric.
That almost speaks to the quote you had, which is like, there's only a small number of people who can really organize something. If too many people get involved, then it winds up becoming something totally different, right? Maybe.
Too many
Yeah.
cooks in the kitchen, I
take it
guess.
in meta.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
Jeff. There you
Yeah.
go, Fletch.
Well, Eric, we'll let him get his, oh wait, here. I think you're self-muted, Eric. So let's see. You can unmute yourself.
How about now?
There we
Hear
go.
me
Now
now?
I can hear you.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Yes.
how's it going?
Sexy Oklahoma boy.
Oh, just doing Oklahoma things, just
Yeah. Just
you
catching
know.
fish. And truck.
I need to catch some fish. I haven't been fishing much.
Yeah, you need to, man.
Well,
You need
soon you'll.
to. Hey, might be trout soon, Eric.
I'm telling you,
I can
Jeff
show you
Fletch.
some fly fishing stuff, buddy.
Yeah, we need to do that. Let's go.
All right.
Alaska.
I'm game. I'm game.
So
What's going on? What I miss?
not much. It just got started. I'm about to go over just a real quick kind of the structure. This event, I have some plans. There's going to be order and chaos here. So I like to be organized, but at the same time, I like to inject some fun and some liveliness and leave room for
I'm the chaos part.
the
Yeah.
questions. All right. Fletch will add some chaos, but you'll see I've got the Wheel of Destiny that will also add some chaos here. And I think really the objective here, well, I'll explain in a second. Hold on, I'm trying to see if there's any immediate questions. Okay. All right. So we're going to do some intros here in a second. There is a poll if you want to go ahead and answer that has to do with like what your business model is, just for my reference. I think I can pop it on your screen right now, or we can do it later. You can do it whenever. Oh, God. Now I have a giant cat on me. Okay. So,
So David, when you did that, it took over the whole screen. Just so you know, right? Okay.
And then it's gone. I lost it.
let's do that another time. I don't really want to do that now, but we'll do it in a little bit. Thank you for letting me know. Apologize. I've only used GoToWebinar like a handful of times. So,
You're doing great.
give me a second.
It's gone.
So,
Scott.
there's the Wheel of Destiny, and basically there's kind of a mix of, Fletch put this really well with like business workshopping or hot seat. So if you want to do that, go ahead and just in the chat put like hot seat or workshop or something and get yourself in the queue. We won't have a lot of space for that because I'm trying to not take up too much time, so probably maybe something on the order of 3 or 4 seats there if you really want that, if you want us to workshop your business. A lot of SEO agency experience here, so especially if you have an SEO agency and a lot of mass SEO experience, you're having some issues, you want us to come on and try to pinpoint where your opportunities are or some of your potential pitfalls, or help you fix a bottleneck that's part of what we're here for. Right? Takers.
Eric, I think we're getting this background noise from you.
Yeah, are you running a vacuum cleaner, David?
No.
I think it's Eric
Then
Fawcett.
there's something
Is it
going
me?
on.
Yeah.
Could be
Are
me
you
on-
running a vacuum, Eric?
That may be my, I'm in a shop. It's an investment property I have, and there's probably the air conditioner above me. Hang
No,
on.
it
Let me
was
see.
loud. It sounded like some kind of digital thing going on.
Okay.
Does it still do it?
No, it's clean now.
I don't hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard
Okay.
it.
But say we're going to AirPods it up, and you shouldn't hear anything.
And then we're going to intersperse in there each of us going into kind of our business models and our experiences. So since all of us are going to be at the physical event, Mastermind in Breckenridge in a couple weeks, hopefully this can also help people understand kind of what kind of experience will be there so that can, whether or not that's very relevant to their business and can help them add $100,000 a year to their business or not. And there's a little bit of chaos. Again, with the wheel. Also, I want to point out that just because some of these people up here, and I know that they have successful SEO businesses, there's plenty of people I know in the audience who are just as successful as us, if not more successful. So I'm not implying anything by they're better or worse. I will try to monitor the Q&A from time to time. And so feel free to ask away. And I do see one hot seat taker or business workshop taker. So with the first wheel, you'll see.
Aaron. Yeah.
So really the purpose of this event is to kind of give some value in helping people understand kind of where their model should go for them, what works for them, because all of us have different business models that hopefully fit into our lives, and give a value there and get a feel, kind of like a taste of the mastermind that we're having in Breckenridge in a few weeks. So if you go to ddd.link/mountainmastermind, there's going to be kind of some soft selling of that throughout this webinar. I'm not going to do a hard sell. I'm not going to say it's for everybody. I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever. If you miss it, you're going to die. But I do think that there's a lot of value already for there and a lot of fun. All right, get through this real quickly. Okay, so why don't we start with Fletch? You want to give us like a 2 or 3 minute intro?
Oh,
I know this is going to be hard. Of kind of like your business experience as a whole, and then kind of like where your model is right now.
Yeah, so I'm pushing 50 right now. I have not had a normal job. I guess normal, depending on what you qualify as normal, but like, getting paid every 2 weeks, working for somebody that lays out exactly what you need to do. Since I was in my early 20s, went to grad school, tried to find answers academically, didn't find those. Had consulting businesses, when I was like 26, 27, where I was, pulling, 30,000 a month, once in a row. So like I had money, and then there would be like a dry spell of money, but I was just living off stuff. Like I was like poking around, for lack of a better term, like trying to understand what I could apply myself to that was going to be something that not only I could stick with, but I could stick with because I understood it was important, and there was a lot I could bring to it and understand and delve deeper into it. And really, when I bought into OMG machines, which all of us here actually did as well, I wanted more clients to my construction business. Had no intention of becoming an online marketer or whatever you want to call what we do. But what that led to was me finding a lot of material from David Mills and starting to be able to answer the question of importance and what am I applying myself to, and how do I know this goal that right now I'm working on is the goal that is going to turn out to be where I want to spend my resources. And so that was awesome. Had a great time, got to meet a lot of amazing people. And then, 5, 6 years into it, wound up getting shot at, fell off a cliff, had a big concussion. A lot of weird stuff happened over the next 2 years or so while I was healing. And then, getting back into this, had some, because of those unique experiences, had some clarity, and having been able to see things from a different perspective during that time helped me really hone in on how important it is to understand importance better. And, obviously I'm still here, I'm still doing this, but it's almost with renewed and fresh vigor, because the role we can play, especially with search engine optimization, but even in a broader context with the way we influence and show other people something fresh and something new and help them begin to experience it themselves. That's how a few people that are bringing like a concerted effort towards something can literally change the world. And so I want to play my part. And one of the bigger clients that I had earlier in my career made me start to look at SEO a lot differently, because I had to. It was a project that had 60 million URLs that the strict PBN model was like, I did, there wasn't the budget for doing things that way across this project. And I had to kind of dig a little deeper, look into the context a little more, and understand search engines and what they were trying to do in a different way to succeed with that project, which was ranking, like quite literally, wherever you might be in the world, ranking for guns in America. Like,
Okay.
we rank for guns, we rank for firearms, we rank for every specific gun there was in the 1,400 largest cities in the country, right? And so that shift really opened, like, I had to get a different perspective, and I had to kind of break out of the path that was really working well for me and working well for most of my clients and my projects, and it was working almost all the time. I had to try to step out of that groove a little bit and say, am I really seeing everything there is to see here? And that's 6 years gone by now that I've continued to work on that context continuing to be more and more important than I realize in getting this different perspective. And it's one of the reasons David and I have been running the podcast that we've been running about cubicle liberation. Like, you've got to have something outside of where you're currently operating to help you see some things that you've optimized incredibly well, right? But the only place it's going to lead is somewhat limited by what you're doing. And by getting into the context more and seeing things differently, I've found nothing but a better life, frankly, like across the board, not just better rankings, better traffic, like all that. My whole life has become much better. So
that is a good intro for you, Fletch. Let me ask you, actually, let me try to take a really big step back and look at so in your experience in the past, has it been mostly like your business has been centered around SEO for a long time, correct?
Yeah, since 2013. 2013
a lot of client SEO that you've sold as sort of information product. Now, right now, Eric, right now with your business model going forward, is it still heavily client SEO focused? Is it still SEO focused?
Yeah. I actually, as weird as this might sound, I'm actually in-house SEO for another agency.
Right.
That's my primary thing.
Like having a really big client.
I have one client with a whole bunch of clients, and I get to just dig in deep. And I'm happy to talk about that, my decision process with
Yeah, we'll get
applying
into that.
looks
If
so
you hit-
good.
when you
but
hit the wheel,
that can come
when
later.
Fletch hits the wheel,
Yeah,
you'll see.
so there's that, and then there's a book I've been writing for a long time that
Okay.
was interrupted with the brain injury that, now is going to take a little bit different flavor just because of what I was able to experience during that time. So those are the two things I'm doing professionally right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Michael, thanks for joining us. I know that do you just do SEO agency work?
Yep.
And right now, and like, how long have you been doing your agency?
Well, I got involved with OMG, I think, in January of 2016. Yeah, I think it was about January of 2016 is when I got involved with OMG. And so over the course of, from 2016 until, today, I started out building up my agency. I built it up to about 20K in it took me about 2 years to do that.
That's pretty good.
And then I started messing around with pretty much every single product under the sun, offering, conversion rate optimization services, offering Google ads, Facebook ads, email marketing, things like that, in a variety of different niches. And then in late 2019, me and my business partner, Eric Brief, we teamed up to start PM Now, which does only SEO, only for HVAC. So basically after, fuddling about with different products and different niches, we said SEO, HVAC, and since starting that agency in the end of 2019, we're close to about 110,000 monthly recurring revenue with about a little bit north of 60 HVAC clients.
That's great. I like how you focused. I bet that really helps your systems, the sales process, all that stuff is way more streamlined than if you serviced a bunch of different niches, right? Like your keyword research for your company, for each additional client, it's like the same thing every time, right? It takes
Well, David, so we had talked about the power of niching down, a little bit over a year ago, and there's not a webinar or a training that I do where I do not somehow in passing mention, and by the way, yet another benefit of niching down. And these days, what I'm really, really focused with, and maybe this is something that I can share in Breckenridge, or maybe we can touch on a little bit later. But so in my niche, HVAC, our clients are super busy in the summer. So what we basically have done is we've named this the summer of the upsell. And knowing that it's slowing down with the new clients, we still pick up about a client a week, but we know it's slowing down with the new clients. And so let's see if we can get our average ticket higher. And we've just been crushing it this summer, specifically upselling with maps. And that's really what me and my team have been diving into and what I could probably offer you guys.
We love maps, and I spend a lot of time working on maps, and maps are the VIP line. So we'll talk about that more in a second. So Eric, I think you're unmuted. If you want to unmute and give us a 2 to 3 minute on kind of where your model is right now and what has really been successful for you in the past. Oh, let's see. Unmute him. Let's see. Hold on. I'll do it. Let's see. Wait, no, I can only mute him.
Boom. Can we now?
There we go.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So question was, what's your business model now? Kind of what you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in business for myself for, probably most of my adult life. I've got a business that I don't talk about it outside of really close knit private groups. So we'll talk about it in detail in Breckenridge. But for this call, the basic business model is I have a service that I've systemized. It runs 100% without me, and I use SEO to feed it. And it does roughly about $700K a year for me. And where I'm sitting right now, this is actually interesting. So I've been playing with client SEO. I have some clients, and there's pieces I love about it and pieces I hate about it. And partially because for me to get $1,500 a month from somebody, it doesn't really excite me, especially for the headache that is a client. So this place here is a barbershop that I've built, and I'm kind of working on it. And I've got a meeting here as soon as we're done with this call. I've got a girl that's run barbershops for about 20 years, and she's going to run this for me. And so how that ties into SEO and all this other stuff is what I'm kind of realizing the power and the benefit of SEO is, we rank a client for $1,500, $2,000, whatever dollars a month, $4,000, $5,000, but what if you just rank yourself and put the dollars in your own pocket? So got a girl, she's managed, barbershops for about 20 years for a franchise. They pay her maybe $3-4 grand a month. I can pay her 10 to 15 grand a month, make 30 plus K out of this space. And if it's successful, let's open 10 of them. Let's open 100 of them. Where's the limit? So everything I do in my life at this point is it's got to be fun. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. So I see that SEO as such a draw power of bringing in dollars. Just invest the money myself. So this business here is almost like a real estate game and an online game, because I can fill the seats with people with what we know from our online expertise and the experience we've had. So basically for 12 years, I have lived off of Google. If it wasn't for Google, I don't rank, I don't bank. So it's just an interesting thing, and dealing with clients and they get mad, oh, we're 6 months in, don't see any movement, whatever. I get tired of that conversation. So I'm like, you know what? This is literally how I eat and how I, sleep and how I travel and how I have fun. So I've just decided to feed myself rather than feeding clients. So it's kind of like but it's gonna be fun. And
we're gonna dig into
everyone
it.
gets a haircut. So
you'd be surprised that, like, if you were doing this differently, if you were trying to monetize the SEO that you're doing right now, it would be exponentially less than 700K per year, potentially like 20, 30 times less. So
right.
If the wheel hits you, we'll get into that. I don't know if Scott, I don't know if you're able to unmute and give us a quick, I think he's on the go.
Yeah, no, I just parked somewhere. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in clearly.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Scott Schaff here. I 12-year military veteran, got into SEO while serving, actually, because some family stuff, and needed a different career that didn't require me being deployed 8 months a year. So I got into it about the same time Fletch did, he's the first one I met in his group. My business officially opened legally 2014, and I primarily do client SEO. I have since partnered with another gentleman who I actually used to serve with at that time. So he saw me build my business while deployed. And many years later, he realized, oh, wow, this is really cool. He got into it. And we are now partners called Red Spear Marketing. And that's important because the red part is an acronym for Remember Everyone Deployed. So we're both vets. And so I'm kind of a mix of what Michael was saying earlier with the niching down and Eric's kind of owning your own thing. We're a nice little mix there where our niche is veteran-owned businesses. We'll take other clients on, absolutely. Service-based, mostly lawyers, doctors, and service-based companies like HVAC or roofing or whatever. However, we target the veteran-owned businesses because everybody knows that you want to work with people like and trust.
Right.
And right away, there's a little bit of a trust factor immediately, vet to vet. We just have some camaraderie, and that's where we've focused our energy on. And then a part of the Eric thing is we own a few websites, or I would say quote businesses, and I say quote because we don't own the businesses, but we own the website that feeds those businesses. Where let's say that business isn't happy with something. Okay, well, maybe we're not happy with them. We can fire them because we own the asset. We own the website. We own the leads. We own the SEO, everything. And so they're kind of stuck with us. Either they're getting enough business and they continue paying us, or there's an issue, which usually that issue is on their side. That's the one problem with clients, like Eric was talking about. A lot of the times you just have a client issue because they're just not informed enough. They don't understand it. It's just beyond them. And we can say, all right, well, here it is. Let's inform you some more. You want to leave? Well, that's fine. We still own the asset. We'll just find somebody else. We'll use your competition to lease out the site and get all the leads that are coming in. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. There's a there's a much longer story to it, but when it comes down to it, it's all about
if the wheel
agency
hits you, then you'll have time you'll see what I'm talking about. A little bit deeper, and I will take point on asking tons of questions to really get to the bottom of, so for the hot seat people and also for the other people, really try to get to the crux of like what it is that makes their business tick and what are the areas. It's like SEO, there's a million things you can do, and a lot of them are not maybe that good, not really that impactful, but there's a handful of things that really can do a whole lot for you. So for me, my business has been mostly client SEO since 2012, but I also do lead generation. I send leads to, I have my own GMBs. I got about 170 or so verified GMBs that I send leads to, like home service companies. And then the smallest part of my business is this, selling the Mastermind, the ddd.link/mountain mastermind, if you want to go check that out, or also some of the other information products and a little bit of software. All right, so let's go back here.
Which, by the way, I'm just going to throw a plug out there. I literally buy all of your stuff because like his map stuff is genius. Like, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm going to plug you.
Appreciate that. All right, so now I'm going to share the wheel and we're going to spin the wheel and hopefully this is fun. All right, can everybody see the wheel?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. We're going to spin it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we get.
That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so that means the hot seat. All right, so let's stop sharing that for a second. And I think we only have one hot seat taker, so that's good. If you want to get a hot seat, let's get these guys on. Where did it go?
Let's see, Aaron Henderson.
Yeah, Aaron Henderson. Let's see. Aaron, I'm gonna unmute you. And feel free to, if you have a mic. Aaron, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh man, couldn't be better, man. Beautiful night.
So I'm gonna ask some questions, and our other people will pipe in, or I'll pipe in, and we'll try to get to the bottom of what's working, or see how we can help. Sound good?
Sounds great.
So what's your model? Are you client SEO, lead gen? What do you do?
Lead gen, and it might be good if I share a little bit about where I'm at and why I'm where I am.
Okay.
I really related to Eric Fawcett in that I only do what's fun. At this point, I've been in business for 45 years now, professionally since I'm 50, so I really relate to Fletcher. I'm 50 and I've been doing business since I was 5. And so long story short, I had a auto parts business, automotive business with a GMB that was very successfully bringing me business after I started to taper down to 1 day a week in my shop, my reconditioning shop. And I don't like to go there anymore. So I work from home. I have small kids. And so my interests now, so I'm doing $6,000 a month part-time, just sending my leads physically over to clients in the big city. I moved my family to the country. So so my thing is that what I think I need is to go, which software would work best for me right now, in that where I can maintain my 4.9 stars on GMB and still send over my leads to my current clients and new clients, kind of how to screen them and how to, so I'm not just a one pony show. I've got one really big client that works well. So anyway, so yeah.
Right, let me try to get to the bottom of a few of these things. So you have one GMB for all these 6,000 per month leads?
That's correct.
Okay, and you're sending these, so if they're, let's go through the process here. Somebody's making a call to the GMB. Where does that call go to?
It goes to voicemail, and I encourage them to text me. I don't answer my phone.
And then once you get one of those, I'm Joe Blow. When I call you, what happens to, what do you do with that lead once you get it?
Joe Blow either leaves a voicemail or leaves a text, and I send an automated text back. It's automated by me by a notepad type app where it says, hey, this is Aaron. I missed your call. What kind of vehicle are you selling? And I go through this process of about 5 texts to get to the bottom of how much do you want for your car? I've got the price negotiated for my buyer, and I literally send over a pre-negotiated price for my car buyer, and they buy from me that way, and then I take a cut in between.
Are you working like a wholesaler or just like just referring these deals to like a dealer?
I just simply refer these over, and they send me a Zelle the same day for my the end of day, however many leads I sent them.
And you think one of your bottlenecks is the quality of the people you send the leads to? You think you can make more money per lead? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm so new at this that my thought is, what softwares can I use to save me time? As in, I watched you do the Twilio thing, and then I saw SignalWire, and everybody's talking about CallRail, and everybody's talking about. There's so many softwares, but I want to be able to automate to the customers or AI, or I want to take me as much out of this as possible while still maintaining a 4.9 stars. 5 is like ridiculously untrue usually, right?
I've actually got something to speak to this, David, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, definitely.
So I think I got friends that do real estate. Are you familiar with the We Buy Houses? Have you ever seen that sign, little bandit signs all over town?
Yes, yeah, everywhere.
Okay, great. So what they're doing, it's really simple. This lady left a card on my thing. So this is the contract, right? I'm saying, hey, I'm going to sign a contract for your house, okay? And I'm going to buy the house for $50,000. I just did one not too long ago. I do this every now and then. It's one of the things I do make money. I have like 3 hours invested. I made 12 grand, okay? But so I'm going to buy your house for $50,000, and that in that contract, it allows me the right to assign just the contract, not the house, but the contract to Fletch, right? To another investor, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What happens is, so he buys it from me for the contract for $62,000. When we go to the title company, the client or the seller gets $50,000. I get $12,000. The investor gets a house. Are you following?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, and I want to lay the foundation because the way you look at this is important. So imagine you've got a house you inherited, whatever, and you want all the money, right? You know what it's worth. You're not an investor. You just want all the money. So what they do is they call you and they're like, hey, I saw that you buy houses. How much are you gonna buy my house for? I'm a negotiator, right? And so they act like they're a big dog negotiator. Well, I've had these phone calls. The reason I don't do that business primarily is because of those phone calls. I don't, like I said, if it's not fun, I've got better things to do. Everything I'm doing is fun, and those phone calls are just not fun. So I do them as they come in. I'll take them kind of what I want, and then whatever. So what ends up happening is the people that are doing chat bots right now, okay, and Matt Lights talked about this. I know he's going to talk about it at the OMG Orlando event, but Matt Lights and with chat bots, they're talking about how guys go from they go to the chat bot, and by the time that customer gets on the phone with the buyer, me, it's like, oh, I had a lot of fun playing with your robot. That was so cool. And so their attitude, they're having like an 80 or 90% higher conversion. These guys were getting, Michael, I know you're a sales guy. They were getting a 1 out of 30 conversion rate for leads that they prospected, right? Not just leads, but I'm talking about, qualified prospects who have a house for sale. They were closing 30 of those. Now they're getting 80 to 90%. So 1 out of 30 up to 80 to 90 because they installed a chatbot. The problem with that is, and that I'm scared of, is like you've got a part of this business, which is you're the business. So you got to make sure the quality that your chatbot or whatever you forward this over to can act like you, because you're having this conversation with this customer, and what they throw an objection up, how to overcome it or how to build the value. And so a chatbot may be an answer. The other answer may be, you're only playing with $6,000 a month. So I don't know how much you have to spare, but I've got a lady that works for me. She makes, she's on Social Security disability, answers phones for me, schedules appointments, and I pay her $675 a month, and she works 7 days a week. She cannot make any more than that, or she loses her disability. So this just gives her something to do. She's a social butterfly, absolutely loves me. If a tire goes out on her car, I give her a tire. If she goes to the shop, I help her out. But the point is, I don't know if you could find someone like that who's sitting at home. Man, Social Security SSI recipients are a gold mine, which if you're on this call, write that down, because I have another girl that works for me. She just came to work for me. I'm paying her, oh gosh, probably, well, her partner in the business, the person she works with, the office manager, made 95 grand last year. Okay. So this girl's worked for me. I've paid her $1,500 a month for about 3 years roughly. And she got tired of working from home. She moved from Texas up to Oklahoma. She's working in that office now. She's going to make anywhere from 60 to 90K this year. And so she worked with a surgeon. She was managed a whole medical office. She had inbound and outbound call experience. So There are people that have gold mine. I think we talk about VAs, we talk about all this stuff, overseas, but in America there are people called secretaries. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Secretaries get paid pennies on the dollar for what they're worth, and they run entire companies. So you can
Right.
literally say, hey, I'm hiring a secretary or an assistant, and they'll do your fucking job for you, pardon my French, and you pay them $675 a month, and she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
She's freaking happy. She's excited. She loves me. So, and I love her too. But believe me, if she freaking falls off and breaks a leg, I'll be there to help her with medical if I have to, because she does so much for me. So does that give you a little bit of insight, kind of how I would approach it? The number one goal is I would find a way to systemize it. And if it was just me playing with your money, I would look at first I would look at a SSI person, because my gosh, it's a human. You can't replace you can replace humans, but and number two, I would learn chatbot technology. That could be I've actually think that I could run my entire business off of chatbots once I understand them more thoroughly.
Sorry, Eric, if I could hop in. If you think it can be automated, gohighlevel.com is going to really help you if it can be automated, because it seems like you're working via text, and they set it up where you can respond via text, you can send email, you can leave voicemails, and all sorts of things. So gohighlevel.com is going to help if it can be automated. I mean, Eric was raising a really good point that possibly you hire somebody either abroad or in America, US based. And the other thing is about your reviews. I think you're likely going to need another piece of software for that. I don't know if this is going to work for auto sales and things like that, but there is in the home service industry, there is a piece of review software called PulseM, PulseM.com. I happen to very, very much dislike the CEO over there, but the software is just so freaking great that I can't help myself but recommend it. So I would take a look at that, because they're like able to build up reviews like crazy for local businesses. So those might be two avenues to check out.
Aaron, but I want to point something out here. What do you think the difference in conversion of 4.9 stars and 4.8 stars is for people calling you? I think it's going to be nothing.
Right. So probably, yeah.
So we're working with some thresholds here, and I wonder if you're focused too much on the star rating. Obviously, if you're sending this out to other people and they're providing shit service, eventually your reviews are going to go down. But if you already have a bunch of reviews, that to me isn't a bottleneck in your business. To me, the bottleneck in your business, if you want to grow this, is like what Eric talked about. You systematize it, but then for me also, I would try to grow it. I'd try to get more GMBs in a wider area. What metro area are you in, Aaron?
Columbus.
Columbus. So I don't know Ohio very well, but there's other cities nearby, right?
Oh yeah. The plans are to do Cincinnati, Cleveland, and once I get this down systematized at an hour a day or less, then I'd like to add on and add on and add on, and ultimately, I don't know. That's the thing I wanted to ask you guys too, is about my I wrote down on my paper who has the most freedom. I'm mostly interested in freedom. I don't need money. I know that I have to be productive. I believe being a good steward is very important. It's more about freedom, automation, growing every day. I totally am not trying to be like, I got to make a bunch of money.
Right.
It's more about fun and freedom.
Autonomy of choice. You don't want somebody to tell you what you have to do. So I would start with systematizing. Look up systems, processes, document everything in great detail. And then get some people to support you who and emphasize to them how important building the process documentation is. Building the systems is part of everyone's job in your company. If they do something, documenting it and the action and the result and in great detail is going to make your business more and more valuable over time. And then
one of the things I would just kind of my who I am, like I take a step back sometimes and I realize I'm not the best process guy. I'm not the best automation guy, and there might be somebody else. And so like very often I have expanded my market and wound up finding people who are very good at the process. And so Like if I were in your shoes, what I might do is I'd go rank, 10 or 15 different cities for that same kind of lead gen situation.
Mhm.
And then very likely one or several of those people are going to have some processes that you have not considered yet. And you can just be like, hey, okay, so what are you doing? Right. And so like the whole thing about like owning a business is thinking that you have to be the person who figures everything out yourself.
Mhm.
And very often there are going to be other people who, based on their own background and what they do well, are going to
Are
see
smarter than
things
you.
that you've never seen. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or just have
Say
different
it.
experiences than you.
And yeah, exactly. And then you can be like, okay, tell me more about how you're doing this thing with these phone calls that are coming in and whatever else. And then like your whatever process you come up with likely can be improved. And in my personal experience, it's most often improved by talking to somebody else who sees things differently than I do,
Yeah.
right? And that might also be a way to fix the problem, so to speak, right? That's what we do, entrepreneurs. We get paid to solve problems, right? We can solve what we can solve, and then we can try to do it. But I think way more often than a lot of people realize, especially online, is that we think we have to be the person who personally solves and puts into processes all of the things that are necessary for this thing to run smooth.
Mhm.
And in my experience, my business partners most often are the people who figure out the processes and get things smooth so that I can do what I do really well and and work and value relationships with people and ask questions and that kind of thing. And then along comes, somebody that is just like has something dialed that they see that I don't see. That's like, oh, I could have spent 4 years trying to figure this out, and they already had it.
So
Right.
if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in here. Processes is very important, and you said you want to expand anyways to Cleveland and Cincinnati and these other cities potentially. How much time are you putting in now, if you don't mind me asking, per week in the current one?
That's a great question. I need to be able to track that. I try to do Pomodoras where I do like, okay, the next 45 minutes, I'm going to follow up on every call that I've had in the last 24 hours, like when at 8 a.m. And then by 9 a.m., I send all my leads,
Bro,
you know.
you're killing me. If you're talking follow up in 24 hours, oh my gosh, you're leaving so much money on the table.
Yes. All
I
right.
want you to follow
So
up.
yeah.
I want you to follow up within 5 minutes of a lead, bro. 900% higher conversion chance. You're gonna make 20
Yes.
grand a month if you listen to me on
Yeah.
that.
Eric's 100% right. So first off, follow up far quicker. Yeah, it's going to take more of your time, but spend the next couple of years spending more of your time following up those leads and expanding to those other cities. Then each city have a different process. Have a VA, have a person who's on Social Security, have chat box only, and then test them out and see what works best. And then whatever works best, that also gives you the value of time that you want, go with that. It's all about numbers.
Have you guys
Yeah, I like that.
have you seen this picture before? Have any of y'all seen that?
I've seen that, yeah.
ID
so
badge, baby.
so
Yep.
let me tell you about that time. So right around that time, I quit the Walmart job because I was doing the thing that makes me a lot of money, but I wasn't making a bunch yet. I was making like $1,800 a month there. An area supervisor pulls me in. He's like, "Man, we really like your work. I know you're you're a Marine and you're working really hard." I was order filling. If you ever go to Walmart in the middle of the night and you see the pallets in the middle of the night at Walmart, I was building those at the distribution center. Hard work. And so anyway, he said, "You're going pretty fast. You're doing good. We just don't want to see you burn out because that's what happened with guys. Is this easy for you?" I was like, "Gosh, no, it's hard work." He's like, "Well, what do you do outside of here?" Because I worked like a Saturday, Sunday, Monday shift. It was like 40 hours. And he said, he asked me, he said, "What do you do outside of here during the week?" And I said, "Oh, I own a business." And he's like, "Does that do any good?" I said, "Oh yeah, the $1,800 a month, I can make that in a day." And then I start reverse selling myself. I was like, but I like the benefits, and the job's fast paced, keeps me in shape, and I start trying to talk myself out of working there, or out of being an entrepreneur. And then it hit me, and it just set it. Well, fast forward a couple of months, I quit the job cold turkey, and I went out and I started going from $1,800 a month to $4,000 a month. Well, then I'm in college at about the same time, because I need a college degree. I don't know. And so I was getting a business degree. I got into a conflict, and I'll tell this story way more detail. I've told it a million times. I love the story, but I got in a conflict with an English professor, and long story short, I was pissed off at that conversation, walked out of her class, called my business coach, who I was paying him what she makes a month. So I was making between $4,000 and $6,000 a month, and this is what I'm getting to. And I paid the business coach $2,500 a month. So ever since I did that investment, I've went from $4,000 to $6,000 a month and then to $12,000 and then to $20,000. And then, this last month was almost $60,000, and sometimes like $90,000 in March, whatever, it fluctuates. And so the point I'm getting to is that's why we have the Mastermind in Breckenridge, because when you get together, I've spent well over $100,000 my own money since I joined OMG with Mastermind type stuff. And the whole point of this group and this event and doing the masterminds is because there's a lot of people that won't take advantage of that event. Oh, it's too much money, or oh, it's that. You think I could afford $2,500 a month back then? It was half of what I was making. The best investment of my life I ever made. If I hadn't made that investment, I promise you, wouldn't be on this phone call right now. I'd probably be, I don't know, working somewhere busting ass. And so the point is, we do these mastermind events and we do these education things, and we invest in ourselves, because you're going to meet half the time when I go to like an OMG Live, the best thing I got out of that trip was me and Fletch. We rode, what was it? 40 hours? I can't even remember.
I drive slow.
55, 60 mile an hour down I-40 from Tennessee to Oklahoma.
Getting passed
I
by
mean,
everybody. Yep.
that was worth the whole cost of admission right there, just hanging out with this guy, listening to him talk. And there's funny because he talked about this book, and I know we uncovered some stuff that, the book, I'm pretty sure Fletch said he'd put.
Let's save
What's
that.
that?
We'll
save
save
the story.
going down that path.
Long story short, go to Breckenridge, because you never know who you're going to bump into, me, David, Michael, whoever, and what kind of nuggets you're going to, because I'm going to show you how I do all this stuff. And I can tell you right now, there's some nuggets in there for you that will just answer this whole deal. I promise.
Well, I got a question. I want to kind of point back to Michael, right? Because I know you work with Eric Brief, right? And you guys each have, one of the things I've heard on some of your calls, because I bought your program, right? Love it. Awesome. Cool. Good stuff. Why do you work with Eric?
He's such a jerk.
Yeah.
I love Eric.
No, but this is.
What do you mean?
I'm not trying
Eric
to
Fawcett, this
fish
is
for,
Eric
but I'm
other guy.
trying to fish for understanding, right? Like
I think
one
you're
of the
trying to
things that I
understand
shared when I was talking about what I was doing was, like, I work with people who have different skill sets that are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I actually, I think it's a combination of things. First of all, one thing that people don't know about Eric Brief is, I'm talking about right now, I'm sure it's true for Eric Fawcett as well, but Eric Brief is one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like, he is like insanely intelligent. He's like a savant in like this one area, but if you just take him like generally, it's just pretty nuts. And so when I first started speaking with him, and really getting to know him, that stood out as, I'm like, okay, there's going to be something there. And then I think another big reason, and I think this really gets to the core of it, Fletch, is I think it's really about, an accurate understanding of really what it takes to run an SEO agency.
Yeah.
People have this idea, or this fantasy, maybe you could say, that it's all about knowing fulfillment, and an SEO agency is just about having a great product. And what happens is, you really get into it, you very clearly, are confronted with the fact that running a great SEO agency is having a great sales process and having a great product. It's really those two things. And, the people who've built amazing agencies, they've understood that and they've tackled it. And, it's interesting because, it's come up a few times about clients being a pain in the ass. And That is not my experience at all. Like I've had 4 client calls today, and every single client call was amazing. It was people who are just super happy. We got, some upsells during the day, and I think the reason for that is because we've approached building the agency where that sales process, it's actually about bringing on the right type of people and bringing them on in a correct way so that they're going to be amazing clients. So, it's an accurate is an accurate view of what needs to happen in the business. It's also an accurate view of my own personal limitations, because I know that, like, as entrepreneurs, we kind of have this like chip on our shoulder. I can do it better than you can. And, that's helpful to a certain extent, but it's very unhelpful. It's very destructive when, you're walking around thinking you're the shit. And the truth of the matter is, it's like you actually need somebody with completely different skills, with a completely different perspective, and maybe with a whole other day full of energy and focus to focus on this other aspect of the business.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's take a step back. Aaron, do you feel like we helped workshop your business to some degree right here?
Absolutely. I thank you guys. I've been writing like crazy. I'm going to say, David, are you putting this on your YouTube so that we can rewatch this, or will you have this recording available?
Assuming the recording works and I double and triple and quadruple checked it, then I will definitely put this wherever. I'll send this out. I don't know if you've on the email list or in the Facebook group. I'll put some links wherever. I guess I will. I don't know if I'll put it on YouTube. That sounds like a good idea, but you'll see it for at least like another week or so. I'll be putting this out there. So, well, I'm glad to be of help, and I think that you can see. Hopefully, you guys can see. You guys who are listening, you can see. There's a few like decision points that Aaron has that all of us here have a different perspective on, and that we can see paths that he can't see. And what is the cost of you going down the wrong path and having to come back? It's just huge. Or what are the opportunities that you missed? So let's move on, and we're going to do the wheel again because I really like spinning wheels. Let's
spent an hour figuring out the tech behind it.
I spent 3 days building this wheel.
I was really wondering about that.
I'm getting out of this groove. No.
Okay, can everybody see the wheel? We want to make sure it's
Yes,
fair.
sir. Yep.
All right, we'll spin
It's
it.
coming in fuzzy for me. I don't know, David. It doesn't work for me. What's going on?
Really? Oh.
Ooh, Scott Scooter.
Scott is going to step to the plate, and we'll go into a little bit more details. He was telling me a little bit about his model, and I'm going to try to ask questions and get some conversation so we can. He's got I like what you said, Scott, and it relates to what Aaron said before about it's not about making as much money as possible. It's about setting up your business in a way you want to live your life. So tell us a little bit more about how you've done that.
All right. Of course, it landed on me just as I started driving home, but I'm pulling over right now.
We can
so
skip you and come back time if it's. But you sound fine.
Let me look at my cell phone signal real quick here. Looks like it's pretty strong. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Scott.
Awesome. All right. So what was the question? I just pulled over right now.
Alexa, shut up. Sorry.
Lifestyle business.
That's your question.
Alexa, shut up. Is that what it is? Am I
Yeah.
talk to Alexa?
That's a better way to tell Alexa
You
to
think
shut
a bunch
her
of random
dang
information
mouth.
for whatever reason. Stop talking.
All right. So I'm sorry, David. What was your question? I just pulled over.
So
I'm in a safe
let's
place now.
start with like your business model. Is it 100% pretty much client SEO? I know you have some partner stuff, but like where your actual revenue comes from is it's like client SEO?
Yes, revenue is 100%. Well, pretty much 100% client SEO. I had a e-commerce business with a partner for a while. That kind of unfolded, but that was because of the partner. Sometimes partnerships don't work.
Yeah.
And then a info product, which I still co-own. And we took a step back from COVID because it has to do with completely separate from marketing. It has nothing to do with marketing at all. So my two business partners, we stepped back because COVID kind of made things a little weird in the industry. But yes, right now it is 100% agency. I still have my own personal agency that I started 7+ years ago. and of course the combined agency, which is the Red Spring Marketing, what I talked about with my business partner. And that's where things got a little bit more niched down, like Michael was talking about earlier. You know, we realized you don't want to work with everybody. And like Michael was saying too, yes, clients can be a pain in the ass, but that's why you have to figure out what your ideal client is first, based on you, because everybody has a different ideal client, and then figure out how to reach out to them and then get them and keep them. So it's a sales process, it's an acquisition process, but it's also a retention process. And it's a lot easier to have retention with clients when they're already people you know, like, and trust, or they know, like, and trust you, or you get along with, or they're just your ideal client, period. That's all there is to it. For instance, just landed a new client last week. It's a doctor, $3,800 a month client. And the way we do things is we charge first and last month up front. So we got that one big check up front, and then it's $3,800 a month after that. And all we ask for is 6 to 8 months of, us proving our worth. And then after that, they can leave it any time they want. That's just our business model. And there's no right or wrong to any different business models. But that's why we also ask for first and last month up front. So we have that big chunk up front, which also gets us moving that much faster, that much harder, because we have the income to throw into it right away. And here's of all different aspects.
Here's sort of the $1 million question that I try to ask everyone, and I feel like there's like 1,000 different answers for this. But so how did this client first get to know about you? How did they first discover you?
So that is a great question. And that's why, one word, networking. Because again, we talked about know, like, and trust. How can somebody know, like, and trust you without knowing you in some sort? And that's kind of a twofold question. This particular client, I have never met in person at all. However, because of networking and getting to know people at different events, venues, nonprofits, you name it, somebody else referred that person to me who knows, likes, and trusts me. And because that person knows, likes, and trusts that person, now you've got yourself a whole, three-way synergy going on, because they trust that person enough to refer over, and then you build that trust as quick as you can. Now you have to be authentic. You have to be real. You can't be fake. And of course, if you are fake and you're not real, so this particular individual, this wonderful young lady I know, close friend, she owns more of a social marketing business, and I've gotten to know her very well, and she trusts me enough to send this client over that her dad actually, has like a partnership within this big, huge medical facility, and she wouldn't do that if she didn't know, like, and trust me. And that's what they thought. And of course, if I don't deliver, my business partner, Nick, doesn't deliver, then she looks like a fool and she'll no longer refer any business to us. So networking is such a massive thing in so many ways of just getting your name out there, getting to know people. And I've known this young lady now for 1.5 years. This is the first client she's referred over, which is fine. But over the last 1.5 years, I've met a lot of people. What's that?
You enjoy the networking process, do you not?
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely enjoy it.
In a given week, how much work would you say you do?
Oh, I don't know if you guys want to know that. Well, just don't tell my ex-wife, but very little.
I know a little bit about that, Scott, don't I?
Yes, you do. So I have a
quote.
I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and now it's summertime, and I have the majority of the time because Mom is in the medical profession herself and has a typical job. She gets told what to do and she does it.
So
nobody would say
replay to Scott's ex-wife. All right, can we all agree?
Yeah, please don't. Please
Gosh,
don't.
I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I will die because I'm on it, and she likes me. I'm in the good zone. Let's just leave it there. I gotta have a place to stay when I go to Denver. Hang out with Scott.
No more pepper jelly for you from her sister, Eric. If you say
my
something.
gosh, I didn't get any last time, and so I'm offended.
Well, next time, Breckenridge, I'll bring some. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could be making a whole lot more right now if you talk about money. But like Aaron was mentioning earlier, he didn't care so much about money. He wanted the time and freedom. And right now I have that time and freedom with my kids, and I spend every single day, just about every day with them.
Nice.
You know, I have a couple days a week where I don't, because she has them, and I can go camping. I can do whatever I want. But you know, I'm probably honestly, if I stay steady, if I'm not trying to grow, I just want to stay where I'm at right now, probably put in 10 hours a week, tops. And that's actually pretty big, probably 5 to 10 hours a week. And I don't include, and that includes the networking, which is just mostly meet new people and having a good time.
Right,
But now I have such a network that you know, it's crazy.
I just want to throw this in here because, you know, like I totally respect, you know, this ethos of like, you know, hey, you know, we've got this business. It's a lifestyle business. It throws out a lot, you know, it cranks out a lot of money. It's a cash cow. I get to spend time with my kids. Like that's amazing. And I've got Scott knows, you know, I've got kids the exact same age, you know, as his. You know, but like I've spent a lot of time thinking, and this is just for me, you know, and I'm just going to put this out here as like a counterpoint, but like I spent a lot of time thinking about like when I've been happiest in my life. And for me, like I haven't been happiest, like, you know, just kind of hanging out with nothing to do. Like what really gets me excited is when I've been just fucking crushing it, you know, in business. Like when I'm waking up and you know, I've just got like the focus, the energy, and I'm just really building. And then you know, at the end of the day, I'm having a conversation with somebody about what happened today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, first we had this partnership meeting and then we had this other thing. And now I put this other thing together. And it's like you stack enough days of that together, and you can build some real momentum in your business, you know, where you could decide to like, you know, all right, well, I'm going to take the next couple of months off and just hang out with my kids, or, you know, for me, I would just be doing jujitsu all the time. But, you know, when I look back at the time that I spent like, all right, just doing a bunch of jujitsu versus really just thriving in the business, you know, I think that, you know, it deserves to be said, and it really deserves to be, you know, you just acknowledged that there's a lot of fulfillment and enjoyment that people can get from building.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I like the way you said that too, because I'm actually in that shift right now, Michael. You know, the first few years of doing this, you know, I had diapers to change, and just you know how it is. Like the little kids, like
Yeah.
two sets of diapers, and they're everywhere, and you got to watch them constantly. And there wasn't a
I
whole
kind of
lot
miss
of
those
time.
days too.
I do too sometimes. And there's not a whole
Yeah,
lot of time you do have if you're the primary person doing all that. And like in my situation, my, you know, wife at that time, she had such a intense job. I was the one picking up all that slack, and I was okay with that. Well, now I'm at the point where my kids, they're potty trained. They're watching mommy and daddy, like they're learning, they're smart. I can have intelligent conversations with them. And now I want to, you know, because I got into that rut, especially thanks to COVID, of, hey, I cook a lot. So, I mean, I taught them a lot about cooking, but beyond that, all we did was, you know, watch movies and, you know, go to the park that was nice, and, you know, like things like that. And I want to show them more value in life and not, you know, more work, like hardcore ethics and work. And you gotta give to get kind of thing. And that goes in every way aspect of giving to those less fortunate, but also giving to yourself and giving your family and giving to your own emotional needs. And I found myself, I got into that rut of, I'm not happy. I was very happy when I worked my government job, you know, traveling 8 months a year all over the world, do some highly classified, fun, cool shit. Let's be real. I love that. And I miss that. And it just came, you know, fairly recently even, where I'm like, I'm just ready to grind for two reasons. One, for my own happiness, because I want them to see that daddy can be fulfilled and happy doing what he's doing instead of just watching Netflix after Netflix series. But also just, you know, but also give them that value of life, of, you know, or that example of when they're old enough, or when they're older and they start working, or they tackle their passions or whatever it might be, like, hey, it takes some hard work and it takes some effort. And that's what's funny enough. I just literally, that's why I was a little late on this call, left a networking group meeting, very, very intense, about business in itself. It's not so much B&I, here's a lead, I'm going to share, you know, that kind of stuff. No, it's like intense. Hey, what are your numbers? what is your P&L? No, like bring it up right now. We're going to go over it in front of everybody. Like, don't be a pussy kind of thing. Like, bring it up. And yeah, we're going to call you out on some stuff. We're going to tell you you're an idiot in some areas, but we're going to also lift you up at the same time. Say, hey, this is how you can be better. This is how you can grow. And this is how you can get more clients. This is how you can, just be a badass. And the whole point of this particular group too, I love, is one of the first questions they ask every single meeting that we have is, what is your end date? And the end date meaning when you set a date. It could be a year from now, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. You're going to set a date, and we're going to make sure you get to that end date of you no longer, the company doesn't run you at all. And you can step away from it for the next 6 to 8 months, no problem. And not only does it survive, but it thrives. It even grows. And I just, yeah. So yeah, Michael, that's what's got me fired up now. Because I just sat on my ass for too long.
I mean, I think it's interesting to point out that there's just a lot of different ways you can go about doing this, and what doing nothing, or like, to me, the option to do nothing is actually very powerful. A lot of times I end up working hard, but then if I really want to, I can do whatever I want. I think that's really powerful.
Well, and David, we talked about this on our last podcast, right? Like letting feelings lead your decisions.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, we have to, I want to go down that. I wish we could go down that, but we have time, and we have to pay our
wheel, go through your slide deck. It's all good, man.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. But definitely that's a great path to go down, like what you, looking at like what you want, but we have to pay the corporate overlords. Here is my soft sell. Hopefully you got just a little bit of a taste so far. We're not ending it now of what it's like and obviously it's better in person when you can have shared experiences and when you have more time and when people will feel more comfortable sharing great detail. And right now the tickets are available through July 6th. I have to give stuff to the people who, this is the lodge where we're actually staying. It's 3888, and there's 7 tickets right now. I'm trying to keep it like a small group, and then there's some payment plans. Definitely reach out if you have any questions about that. So we had to pay the corporate overlords. Gotta bring that up. You go ddd.link/mountain mastermind if you're interested in it. I think there's going to be a lot of value there, a lot of workshopping like what we did with Aaron, but you can go a whole lot more detailed. But then also just building relationships with people in this industry that you will know for years. I've known Fletch for a long time, and the value of having that relationship, even just the value of being like, hey, I did this thing today, or I'm gonna do this thing. What do you think about it? And him perspective on it once a year. The value of that is very high, and so do not underestimate the value of going to events like this. Not just this event, but other events, to meeting other people. This one's a more tight knit group, and there's a lot of fun stuff hopefully that we're doing. Okay.
Which we got Scott, the local, friggin' guide. So, if there's anything we don't know what to do, Scott can lead us in the right direction for fun. So
I did a lot of my growing up about an hour and a half from Breckenridge. So
oh, really?
I live in Denver.
in my place. And I'm not
do you
really
really?
sure
I
what's
didn't know
going to
that.
come out. Yeah. I grew up in Steamboat Springs. So I'm
cool.
kind of starting to feel my oats a little bit about, and very excited about, frankly, getting back in the mountains in the summer and being around people who are doing stuff like me, and being able to, give and get both, right? Yeah. With the people who are there. And I have never been able to do that. I don't know about you guys, but like my direct surroundings, I have one person I can really talk to that gets it all. That when I talk about something, they're picking up on it. Otherwise, I gotta jump on a Zoom with somebody somewhere else, and we gotta plan it, schedule it, all that kind of thing. It's hard to estimate the value of that. And even over the course of 3, like I know, from my experience, like how enjoyable it was to drive from Franklin, Tennessee to Oklahoma with Eric. Just be like,
highlight of my life.
Like my guy, right? It's like we can talk about all this stuff, and it all comes, like, so much more comes out than you realize you even had.
Well, the
That,
clarity you get from another perspective when like Michael really just I can't wait to pick his brain on how he loves clients. Like, I want to love clients.
yeah.
Maybe I'm missing something. It may spark 100K a month, thing. So that's the power of this thing. I mean, and here's the deal: if you can't, what's the price of the ticket, David? $3,800.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's Scott just picked up a client for $3,800 a month. What if he literally was like, oh yeah, they're a doctor, and here's the details, here's how I did it, blah blah blah, and then you start soliciting doctors. Next thing you know, you've got one. You've just paid for the ticket plus 12 months of revenue. So I get stuff like that from people all the time. Every time we do one of these events, I go and I use it. It just usually builds something in me that I take home with me. It's like the drive with Fletch. That wasn't on the agenda. That wasn't. I actually had a plane ticket that I just missed. I just jumped in the truck with 10. I didn't even call the airline. I just let them figure out where I went. So, you can't ever plan that. But some of the, I've had situations where, like Josh B. Crab, he and I are like freaking close. And I can't tell you how many times I've been like, hey man, I've got this issue I can't settle. He's like, oh man, did you do this? I'm like, no, but I didn't think to do that. And so the relationships and the inside knowledge you can get, it's like inside knowledge. Okay, so this barbershop I'm sitting in, I'm building. The only reason I'm doing this is because someone showed out the girl that's going to help me put all this together, or it has been helping me put all together. I sit in the chair. I ended up helping her when she went through the surgery thing, and I just was asking her one day. I was like, "What kind of revenue they do here?" She's like, "They do like 35 grand a month." And I was like, "How many people do they have cutting hair?" She's like, "2, 4, and 6." I'm like, you mean to tell me with 4 or 6 people cutting hair, they can generate, and they're all paid by the hour? She's like, yeah. I was like, because I've always been interested in this model. I've known people that own salons and stuff, so it's something I'm familiar with. And I was like, okay, let's talk. So we've been talking for about 3 years about this thing. Finally, I've just decided to pull the trigger on it. But it's just insane. What Og Mandino, he's a success guy. He said that success is determined by the place you go, the people you meet, and the books you read. I don't really feel like reading a book while we're in Breckenridge. We didn't scrap that one, but we're going to meet people and go places. And that's the cool thing is, like, I would be nowhere. Matter of fact, Fletch, I love you. I freaking hate your webinars. They're too long for me. I can't keep up. So I have friends of mine that watch Fletch and explain to me what Fletch just said. And I promise you, I wouldn't like you as much as I do if I didn't have those friends that explain you to me. And then after diving into what they like, the Cliff Note Fletch version, I'm like, I need more. And then I start watching, and then now we're best friends. So it's just amazing what you can accomplish by this network and stuff. And did we mention we're going to actually have fun? Like, there's probably going to be some debauchery or Scott, are you still on the call?
I haven't stole a car for a long time.
We almost got arrested in Denver 2 weeks ago when I was there. So we'll try not to do that. But it was funny. We'll say,
I'm back now, and we have fun, and at the end, when the cops were laughing with us and shaking our hands, we had a great time. So don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's just we have some fun stories. It's all good.
Keep in mind, all the money you spend on this is tax deductible, so you're having fun, and it's 1/3 off essentially. So there you go. All right. Well, let's see. So, or if you just really want to hug Fletch, this is your opportunity. You want to see if how bendy Eric Fawcett's hair is. That's also could be on the agenda. I will give free hugs to anybody.
Should I show him now? Nope, you have to attend to
No, leave him So
build. If that sells a ticket, we're all doing marketing wrong.
Right. So just a little bit of a soft sell there. Hopefully you see the value. Let's spin the wheel again. Let's see what we get. I know Eric has to go soon. Bring the wheel back. You guys for too much longer, but if people have questions or they want to see the wheel spin, then by all means I'll stay a little bit longer. Oh, here we go. This was my chaos choice. So you all get I'll send you guys a certificate of world domination afterwards. All you attendees get a certificate. We'll spin it again.
I want one.
That one was I'm trying to be funny here. And sometimes it misses and sometimes it hits. Okay, so this is the big business workshopping. Is there anybody else who wants us to workshop your business? So go ahead and put a message in there, say hot seat or workshop, and we'll get to digging down to your business.
Well, one of the things until somebody says that, like, you know, I talked a little bit about being like in-house SEO for another agency and the book I'm working on. But like one of the other things I really haven't talked about much, I talked to you, David, and I think Eric a little bit about it, but like I have a completely different view of what's available with domains that you can buy. And yeah, Eric's smiling a little bit.
I love
We
this
did
topic.
talk about this somewhat, but if you're looking at them as a PBN, you're not seeing as much as you could. And I'm not saying they don't work and they're not a driver of business and a great way to do SEO and everything else. But there is so much more that you can do with a domain that's up for sale, that's got some metrics and some juicy links coming into it, that I am really excited to be able to talk about at the workshop, the mastermind, the whatever David's called this thing, that it's just,
It has multiple names.
it has multiple names, but,
Old God.
and I'm like so much more that you could see. And it also helps you if you just want to run them as PBNs to see them differently, right? To be able to be more picky with what you buy and what you spend and what you're willing to spend and how much value you see in them and all that kind of thing. So, you know, if somebody else wants to jump on with the workshop concept,
We can see your screen, David.
it's all too good.
You can see my screen. Whoops.
Now
Saw
we
my
can see
messages.
the wheel again.
Don't show them my
Now
messages.
we know who you're talking to.
So, well, I've got
Well,
a
that's
drop.
exciting, Fletch. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's the power of questions, and you know, what else could you do with
Exactly, questions.
you know, one of
right?
those domains? So that's
They
awesome.
open up so much. Yeah.
Well,
Oh man, this is good. He's got some good stuff that I've been wanting to. I'm glad we're revisiting this because I've expanded my thinking on some of this, and I just can't wait to have that conversation. We need to definitely schedule some fire pit time for some of this stuff because like
So we
this
get
could
to
get
have
deep.
fire? We get to have
Yes.
fire. Okay. I'm all in. I'm all in, baby. All right. Cool.
you had me at
And we have fire. Jerry
I'm
McGuire.
not going if we don't have fire. What are you talking about?
So since no one else volunteered, Aaron says he has more questions, so I'll give him the little mini workshop time. How's it going, Aaron?
Hey, doing great, thank you. Fletch, you had said that, you know, document in great detail and then rank in 10 to 15 different cities. And then you had mentioned that I'll figure things out. Are you saying that because of the clients that I'm working with, I'm going to figure it out from those clients? I wanted to be clear on that.
Okay, so like one of the ways I realize I learn, like it like input. So whether it's what did Eric Augmandino, like you read a book, you meet new people.
Yeah, place you go, people you meet, books you read.
Okay,
Yeah.
so these are all things that are input. And one of the greatest, like from my perspective and my experience, has been like one of the greatest inputs I get is from people because they've not only distilled lessons that they are currently using and have a lot of context built around so they know where the boundaries are and what they can do with it. But they've also probably tried a whole bunch of other stuff that they're not talking about because it didn't work for them. Right.
Well, the filter, they've filtered it. They've created this conscious filter.
So you actually are getting only kind of the gold that they were able to use. And so like for me, I was a general contractor and we did home improvement in Phoenix here, Arizona. And the first thing I did was rank my site. And then I ranked lead gen sites that were coming in and I was having to answer the phone and go out and do jobs and all that kind of thing. And then there was this one client who was like, how are you doing this? Like, we're closing crazy amount of deals based on these phone calls that you're forwarding me. I was like, well, you know, there's this thing called SEO. I didn't know about it before. I'm doing it now. It's like,
Thing called
like
SEO.
now you paid me back the money you owe me because I was so broke. Could you do that for my website? That was my introduction to client SEO.
Mhm.
Someone else saying, hey, could you do this for me? I had not even considered it. Like back in that day with OMG, that was not really what was being talked about. That was not the,
You're just talking about ranking.
we were talking about ranking. Okay, so what can you do with it? Oh, you can get clients. That idea came from my installation contractor. And so in my experience, kind of, you know, well, over my life, but even like especially since that time, I've paid way, way, way more attention to the sort of questions people ask me.
Mhm.
And so when I've gotten into business relationships or talked to people, networking has been talked about on this call as well. It's like, you know what? I haven't really considered that. That is something that I could probably do pretty well and provide. I can literally, okay, so money, like money's a big hang up for a lot of people, right? In a lot of different ways. It's like, oh, should I earn this much or, you know, whatever. Like we all have these norms and standards that everybody kind of gets set in. But quite literally, when you create value, you make money, not just get money. You create money. That's the essence of economics.
Mm-hmm.
Fletch, I got to
Mhm.
cut you short. I got to jump off here because my people are here. But you're dovetailing exactly into what I want to talk about with you, with everybody, in the whole event. Because where I'm sitting right now and kind of where I'm moving with my own like life, yes, like we're talking about, you can manifest money for yourself if you understand a thing, and it's just right now I'm trying to understand more things, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, David, thanks for letting me on. Michael, can't wait to meet you. You're a rock star. Aaron, I hope you make
Likewise,
it to
man.
the event. Guys, thank you for having me on. David, you're my favorite little gangster who read things with my hood friends in Breckenridge. Have a good thing.
Eric, thank you.
And I don't want to take too much of other people's times as well. So Fletch, Michael, and Scott, if you want to jump off at any point, just let me know. If there's people here still asking questions, I will feel obligated to stay as long.
Yeah, I've got to cut out. But I did want to just say, you know, everybody, thank you so much for the participation. I'm really looking forward to meeting, you know, a lot of you guys in person in a couple of weeks. In person, can you believe it?
I know.
I cannot wait to, you're going to get
Yeah.
a chug. So just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
feel free to give me a hug if you
All
I'm a
right.
big hugger, you know. So
all right, buddy.
I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of no germs. Don't worry
All
No,
right,
about it.
cool. All
Eric's a
good.
good dude. We had dinner a couple months ago. He's a good dude. Sam, we did about 2 weeks ago, and Beechcraft was out here again. I know you're busy, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have a great time.
It's gonna be great. David, thank you so much for organizing this. Fletch, Scott, I guess I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
All right, buddy.
Good see you, Michael.
Michael, thanks for your input.
Adios.
So we got somebody, Jonathan from New Zealand. I was just last year. I was in New Zealand. Love it. It's beautiful.
Beautiful
Oh, yeah, you
place.
went down there for a while, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I stayed a few weeks there a long time ago. I love it. Absolutely amazing.
A life goal. Well, let's roll the wheel just one more time maybe, and then we'll kind of take it from there and let everybody go. Again, if anybody has any specific questions for me, I'm happy to answer whatever. But I also just want to spin the freaking wheel. Maybe I'll win $1 million. I don't see that on here though. Oh,
David,
see a giant cat. All right. Well, so I have a very large cat. He's not fat. He's just
Oh,
big.
good Lord.
he's big boned.
Like a mini
He's
tiger.
good.
There we go.
God, dude. That's like 3 of my cats.
The wheel has spoken. He's like we feel like he's like a half bobcat or something.
Mm.
So Okay, well, that was fun. Let's see. So we'll take Michael off the list and Eric off the list. All right. So maybe
Oh boy.
we'll do one more. That one didn't count because it was silly. Now my cat is confused as to whether or not. Oh, this was my. See, I was going to show a bunch of pictures of Breckenridge. We'll skip that.
David, what is your podcast called? You and Fletch are doing a podcast. Did you say that?
Yeah, Cubicle Liberation podcast.
Spotify?
I think you should be able to find it on Spotify. You can go to cubicleliberation.io. It's also on YouTube. It should be on Spotify. I don't know for sure though. Not
It
a podcast.
surprised me like how long we've been doing that, David. Like it's like 2 years now or something like that. Crazy.
Our first episodes came out in early 2019, so it's over 2 years. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of off and on. We do a batch of episodes and then we'll do some other stuff. We got some news coming there, but slightly unrelated here. I don't know. So Fletch,
Yes, sir.
what do you know about Breckenridge and Scott? I'm curious.
Well, that was where we had to go shop for anything that was not available in Steamboat because they had a mall type thing, right? Outlet mall, like outdoor, like we go get our basketball shoes there, all that kind of thing. But like summer in the mountains in Colorado, it's really hard to really put it in words.
Here's some
a
pictures.
nice place. Yeah.
Google image search Breckenridge, Colorado.
Picture's worth
filter for
1,000
summer.
words, and I can't say 1,000 words in the next 2 minutes. So
Yeah,
the
I
pictures.
like that it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the not in the middle of nowhere, but it's out in the nature.
is.
But there's
Western
still
slope. Yep.
enough of a touristy thing to where we can go to restaurants and you can get
Stuff to do.
stuff that you need.
Yep.
The place we're staying at is pretty nice. But so you can kind of pick and choose how you want to experience that. Also, I think this isn't like peak time for this town. It's also not the low time as well, so it's not going to feel like a ghost town. But they do get pretty busy in the summer, so that's good. You want it to be, you don't want it to be like a ghost town. It is pretty hopping. Scott, I muted you because there was some extra sound coming from you, so I'm trying to unmute you now.
Do you hear me? Sorry, I just got a phone call coming. You hear me?
Oh, no problem. What are your
Cool.
thoughts on Breckenridge?
Well, let's see. I'll probably be there Saturday for a little while. I go often. I got married there.
Oh, wow.
8 years ago, so I know it very well. I snowboard there all year round, or well, all year round, most of the year. And yes, you're right. That time of year is perfect because I actually got married September 8th out there. And it's one of the most beautiful times of year out there. There's not a ton of people. But there's a lot going on, some excellent restaurants. There's some great hiking, got like luge, like the concrete luge, a lot of activities, downhill mountain biking. Sapphire Point is just outside of there between Frisco and Breck, and you're going to go through Frisco anyways to get to Breck. It's right off I-70, and it's a beautiful point. I mean, it's called Sapphire Point for a reason. It's absolutely stunning. There's just a lot to do out there. Yeah, I have a couple friends who have mountain houses out there, so I'm there often. But yeah, it's a great place.
Not too far from Denver, but not so close that
No.
you're feeling like you're in town or anything.
Oh, no, it's not far from Denver at all. But
I wanna find
just
this
far
guy.
enough.
Where is this? I'm gonna hike to this dude.
Let's see, where are you looking? Oh, here we go. Oh, he's not there anymore.
Oh,
So it's a world famous dude from Germany or Sweden or something like that. He creates these. He just does it. These actually, you know what? I take that back. I think he's back. So what he does, he goes around the world in these beautiful places and creates these amazing wooden sculptures. They're just massive and just super cool.
yeah, like this.
But he doesn't do it by permission though. And
Right.
there's some sort of issue with the city council and all that, so they had to tear it down. But there's such an uprising of that, and so many people are pissed and protested that I have to double check. So don't quote me on this, but I believe it's back. Actually, I'm about 90% sure it's back now. The city council invited him back to redo another one, but at a location where the city approved it is what it was. But yeah, super cool,
Red tape.
natural, artistic, awesome thing. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, well, Fletch and Scott, do you guys want to roll the wheel again? What do you want to do? I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you need to go? I don't know if you guys have any hard deadlines.
I don't have the kids tonight, so I have nothing going on. I just have to do my second workout at some point. That's all.
Fletch, you want me to click the spin?
Spin it, baby.
All right, let's go. Fletch is feeling left out. He's the only one that didn't get picked here. Wheel.
Wah, wah, yeah.
Wheels in your pastime. Oh, here we go. This kind of fits. We kind of alluded to it to some degree. The story time of you and Eric driving together. I wonder if there's any other like OMG live stories that you want to tell. Scott, did you see
Scott's laughing because he might be able to tell this one better than me.
Yeah, is it the one where Fletch stole the car and would you do donuts in the parking lot or something?
Stealing was not really.
I would say which story.
Temporarily.
Yeah.
I would almost say which story and which city around the country you're speaking of, because there's quite a few. Fletch and I have shared rooms in San Diego and LA, Nashville. Where else have we been? But I think Vegas. Yeah, we spent some time in Vegas.
Yeah.
Your wife was there for that one. Yeah. So yeah, we've got some stories out there, and ironically enough, the Vegas ones are probably the most tame.
Yeah, I think so.
Those are the most chill. Yeah. Yeah, but Nashville's a good time.
Like to kind of play on that, it's like when you get to a point where you start doing kind of squirrely stuff, right? And there was no maliciousness, there was no damage, there was no property right violations or whatever. But like those are the kind of things like Scott alluded to, the fact like we sat next to each other at the first live event that OMG Machines had. And that's how we got to know each other. And now, 8 years later, we still, we got each other's cell phone and we talk often.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it's in all likelihood helped both of us to have some ability to go back and forth and bounce ideas and like, hey, I got this client I can't take care of, or how do I do this or that, whatever it might be, right? The questions come up and it's like, who can I talk to about this kind of thing? Yeah, that's why I really value relationships almost above the SEO knowledge, because it's like the SEO knowledge is out there if you know what to look for.
It's not really that hard. Yeah, SEO isn't that hard in itself. I mean, any sort of business can be difficult to learn or know how to run a business and know the numbers. That's completely separate. SEO in itself is really not that difficult, but it's the connections. And of course, there's the saying, your network is your net worth. And there's a lot of truth to that. And not just your net worth of money, but just relationships is so
your
important.
Life. Like you were talking about, like lifestyle, like engineering your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I worked 60, 70 plus hours last week, and I was happy every single hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to spend the waking hours when my kids are awake and happy and fun with them, as well as doing my work. Like that came from conscious thought and decisions that I had to make in what I was doing and how I was going about making my money based on what I could do, what value I could create. But those aren't necessarily things that, like, had I not spent as many hours as I had on trying to figure out ways to make good decisions. And that's not like being smart or not smart, but like I've spent way more than 10,000 hours on trying to understand my own mind and my brain and not be misguided by certain things it does that it wants to convince me of, like, this is true.
This is true, or this is what you want, or this is going to be good for you.
And it's like, but am I going to want that in a month?
You know what? It's funny that you should mention that, because I'm always, every month or every week or so, I'm reminded of early on our podcast. I think when we were first talking about it, before we even actually recorded an episode, we were talking about sort of like there's the soft skills, like the mental, and then there's the
Yeah.
technical skills, like this is how you build a link.
I recall that. Yep.
And what happens is pretty much everybody goes after the how do you rank a website? What's the Maps SEO trick? What's this? What's that? But really, what is the bottleneck in most people's business is the mental stuff. It's the issues with getting things organized, with understanding how to really build things, building relationships, building their own understanding, building assets, building things that grow their business over time, but also that help them be an excellent person in that seat that they've given to themselves as the business owner. And so that's a really important thing to really keep in mind here.
Yeah.
So we're kind of veering from
and that's probably, like, David, it's one of the reasons that most of us are here, right? Whoever's watching, watch on replay, whatever it might be. We got attraction's a big thing. We unpack that at the event, but we got attracted to our idea, our imagination about what the internet lifestyle was.
Mhm.
And very few people engineer that and actually achieve it. So a lot of people make a lot of money. They don't have the lifestyle. There's a lot of people who pretend they have the lifestyle, but they're nervous and they have a lot of anxiety. And I know a lot about that, about when's this going away. And when you can become aware of the pieces necessary that need to be in place to be able to have both of those things, the income plus the lifestyle that lets you feel comfortable and actually be able to enjoy what you're doing, while at the same time enjoying your life and your family or the people you're dating or chasing or whatever it might be. Like, that's when you really got it. When you understand all those pieces. And there are pieces that I was missing for a long time. And I'm not trying to even pretend I have them all figured out, but I got enough that I could figure out how to be where I am now.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really like every single thing that's in my life right now.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's awesome.
and if I can help more people see some more of those things, I how is that bad? Like,
It's not.
like it's always like, well, why are you going to share that? Well, because less people in the world who have this information, that there's no shortage of, like, there's no scarcity
No.
in other people being happy and knowing what they need to work on.
By and large, yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's another way of looking at it. If you have all the hard skills, you know everything about SEO, but you don't, but your mental skills, your understanding of your own mind, your ability to be disciplined, all that stuff is really terrible, you're never going to have consistent success.
Right.
On the other hand, if you have all of the mental stuff, you have all the mindset stuff, all that stuff, you have that down pat, and you have no SEO skills, I would bet on that person to be much more successful, much faster than the other person, and to be consistent over time. Even if you have no income and you're that person, I think you're on your path to success.
Yeah.
So that's something that definitely, if that hits with you, then check out our podcast, The Cubicle Liberation. We have a question
we talk
here.
about that a lot. Right.
We do. We have a question here I'd like to address. So DP asks, if you're starting out again from scratch with your digital marketing agency, what would you do? There are many ways or paths to go about it, like Eric's method, which is much less about clients, or Michael's, which is much more about clients. So I'm just wondering, if you had to restart things due to losing a bunch of clients during COVID, how would you go about doing it? First, a point of clarity. Eric's primary model is not client. I think this is part of the reason why he doesn't like clients, or maybe it's which one came first, the chicken or the egg. But I don't think he's had the time to focus on kind of reframing the relationship with the client, which I think is part of what happens when they're paying you money and you systematize it right. I don't think he's really done that. I think he's kind of taking on ad hoc clients without actually building an agency around it that much. So again, his primary thing is where he basically sells leads to his own business. And we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but he told me there's only 4, he makes 700K with 4 GMBs. I want you to think about that. 4 GMBs. And I believe he's not in like a he's not in like New York City or LA or something. This is not a major metropolitan area. 700,000 a year with 4 GMBs. Just really think about that. So, well, Fletch, maybe I'll put this question to you first. If you had to start over with your marketing agency, what would be, how would you build that from scratch?
So it depends on where you are. I alluded to it earlier, but for people listening to this point, like one of the things that I've done is built and sold businesses. And what a domain up for auction is a business that has a lot more value in it than what you get to buy it for. So if you've got some money in the bank and a little bit of time, and you know the hard skills of how do you build an entity and get it traffic to make money, that would be, that's what I'm working more and more toward doing with every single property I have on the internet. I do not look at money site PBN with any distinction anymore. But if you need money now to live, sell clients and then partner with somebody who knows the hard skills and can fulfill on what you just sold. So it depends on where you are, what you got in your bank, where you are in life, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm at a point in life where I'm looking at buying, building, and selling businesses, but I still have a day job that pays me well to live well, and I get to build my hard skills even more and do certain things that earn me monthly money. And that's how I started as well. Like I was working hourly before. I'm not working hourly anymore. I've got a base and it all works out really well. So the answer, it depends, and this is like something like Greg Morrison is kind of famous for, a question comes in, well, it depends. It depends on where you are.
That's
right?
true. How good are your SEO skills? How good are your sales
and the two things that have stuck with me the most out of everything I've heard from Greg are that it depends, and before you quit, remember why you started.
Mm.
And
Sure.
and those two can be ways to figure out wherever you are, assess where you are, assess what to do with it. Right? If you got money in the bank and you got some time on your side, go buy a domain up for sale that has great links and build a business around it. And well, Eric Fawcett's going to talk a lot more about some of the ways he makes money with things like that. I've built and sold right now more than 30 businesses, and those are nice paydays. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Sure.
But the hard skills are, they come into play somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't do it yourself, you're going to have to pay for it. And if you have to pay for it, you have to know how to hire the right person. You have to be able to ask the right questions, like all of that kind of thing. So it kind of depends on where you are. But I like agency. So okay, so business, period. Like just period. You need to have a clear offer in a way that stands alone, without broken windows, without stuff that's messing up conversion. And from there, add context about why somebody should get into the mind frame where they see the value that you have created that they want to trade their money for.
Yeah.
Getting to that place, you can't take any of that stuff out of the equation and have it work. It doesn't work anymore.
So DP says, just starting out, not much money in the bank and need to make money fast. You can do SEO, as that's what we've done before. Hopefully you've taken my Maps SEO course if you have local SEO clients, because there's a lot of stuff in there that a lot of people aren't doing and that are really helpful. But so I'll try to answer this question in my own way. So for me, and again, this speaks to everyone having their own path. For me, what has worked the most for me was ranking Dallas SEO Geek for Dallas SEO. Not networking. I did some networking originally, and I could see how that you need to commit to it, and you can't do it half-assed. You can't do either one of these halfway. If you do both of them halfway, they'll both not
It's a
really
whole ass thing. It's a whole ass thing, David.
Yeah, it's a whole ass thing. And so I would build another website, and if I really needed money fast, then yeah, I would either go to networking, and especially now with COVID, I don't know exactly where you're at, or if you've been vaccinated or whatever, what the rules are in your locale. Or you know what, if I had a bookie that was like, hey, you owe us $20,000, or we're gonna break your legs in front of your children, I'd pick up the phone and I would just call people that are super qualified. For me, that would be lawyers. Lawyers spend a lot of money on SEO. I do well with lawyers. I've closed a lot of lawyers. And you know, this is a little bit of a personal decision for me. Obviously, my dad's a lawyer, so I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer in past life. I speak a lot like a lawyer. It's kind of a very rational discussion. Some people don't like working with lawyers. Personally, I like that. So I would just like do a little bit of research, find some lawyers that maybe are paying for ads and are not. Somebody's typing a bunch. I need to mute somebody. Hold on. Wait, where? It's so hard to find. And I would just call them. I just pick up the phone and call them. And oh, here we go. And just be like, hey, I was wondering if you could help me. So you start off by asking for somebody for help, and then you'd say, look, I want to see if you're open to us discussing how I can help you grow your practice. And, you know, I know it's not easy and nobody wants to pick up the phone, but again, if you're like really looking to get
like
money
you started
quickly.
this whole thing with that chaos and order, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to expand your order? By stepping into chaos, stepping into something you're uncomfortable with that you don't yet know, and sorting some of that out.
Yep. And getting feedback, because you're gonna have to. It sounds like DP, like you have SEO experience, but you don't have agency experience. So you're gonna need to build that experience. You're gonna need to fail some amount. Now, what you also want to think about is there's kind of good revenue and bad revenue, and sometimes you have to take bad revenue just to survive. Sometimes you have to take on deals that are not optimal for you just to survive or just to get experience.
I was making like the whole start of the story, like when I was talking, like, who are you, Fletch, right? I had one $12 an hour job and one $13 an hour job doing SEO. That's what I was doing. But it got my water turned back on. And then from there, I used my extra time to build assets that I could build with, right? You build from there. What David talked about, yeah, absolutely. But like having a stable base cannot be overestimated in how valuable it is, even if you want to shoot for the stars, right? And you very well could be somebody fully capable of that. But if you're constantly getting bills about things you cannot pay, your attention's going to go there. And so it might get on Fiverr. Like I was on Upwork. That's where I got to, positions that frankly let me get my skill set built better, gave me a lot of experience, paid the bills while I was building the assets of ranking my agency and my lead gen properties and my construction company business and all of those kinds of things. So, again, it's kind of one of these things like how would I say it? Like I don't know if that has really any meaning for you, because I can't see you. I can't understand who you are. I can't, go back and forth and try to really kind of flesh out like really how much you've got and really what you're trying to
Where your
do and all
assets
that kind
are,
of
what are
stuff.
your natural advantages? Like some
Yeah,
people, they
yeah.
come in and they just you naturally have experience with contractors. Some people, somebody who
So
was
it was natural for me to do that, and so it made, like, I saw that like
you can
really
speak their
quick.
language. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a lot of opportunity.
yeah,
I'm
and
curious,
like
Scott.
you talked about engineering and lawyers. Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't heard from Scott on this. Sorry, I've been muting Scott. And then forgetting to unmute him. I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah, no worries. Because I'm not an organizer, so I can unmute myself. And I know I was traveling, but I'm home now. And if you want to make me an organizer, you see my pretty face,
It
and my
won't let.
pussy cat is sitting on my lap. So
I'm sorry. I tried to make you an organizer, but it looks like once I gave it to somebody
No
else,
worries.
take it with them.
No worries. That's fine.
So what
So
would you
yeah,
do?
I do.
Start over.
So quick money kind of thing is, all right, you already have some skills. Obviously first step, reach out to those who you know. Mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, friends, whatever. Just reach out saying, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of new to me, but I think I'm pretty good. I actually have a lot of confidence in myself. So what do you say we do it at cost, 100% at cost plus 500 a month or whatever, a little bit of extra income would be. So you're getting that experience. And then the other individual knows that you're working hard. You're not trying to screw them. You're not just going to take their money and run, because everything they pay is going at cost. What you're doing, if you have to buy some links, okay, well, here's the bill, here's the links I did, here's whatever the tangible proof. Thank you for trusting in me. So that's one way to go about it. And of course, the way I went about it, which, those who know my story is, I was working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week in Afghanistan. And I, had been playing around with SEO as well. And I had never made a lot of money off it by any means, a couple $100 here and there. But I needed to grow fast. And so what I did was build a couple websites. I built 3 websites all at the same time in a few different niches. 2 of them were actually law firm niches, like David mentioned. One was a bail bonds niche. But it could be any niche. It could be roofing, it could be HVAC, it could be whatever you might know or you don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know law, and I didn't know bail bonds at all. I know a lot about them now, but what I did was I built the site, ranked them, and then from Afghanistan, from 8,000 miles away, I contacted a few people. The first one actually was kind of funny. He contacted me because when you start ranking in the competitive niches out of nowhere, you make waves, because these lawyers, especially, or these, big companies, they know, oh, who's this new player? Who is this person? And it was a shitty website. So that's another thing too. Don't make it perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. If you rank and you've got a phone number on there, it's going to get calls, period. So don't focus on all that, but just get something out there. And then, from there, the one individual, one lawyer contacted me saying, hey, I don't know that you're a lawyer. I don't think you are, according to your website, because it's actually kind of crappy, but you're outranking everybody else, and I know you're getting phone calls, so let's talk. Boom. That was my first client. $5,000 a month, just like that. And then the next couple, I had to work a little bit harder. I just researched page 2, page 3 of law firms, or bail bonds in that case, of, hey, who might I want to work with? And I find one, like, this seems like a legit company, and I send a simple little gift basket. Super simple. And if you want to really go a step above, which I would do now, is, go to LinkedIn, all that, kind of find a little bit more about them. If they're a graduate of U of M, give them something cool like that. Just kind of get that more heartfelt, that heart-to connection, which is even more important. I didn't do that then, but that goes a lot further. It doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a $20, thing, whatever. And then send that to them along with a sheet of all the phone calls that came in, because you call forwarded to them. If you have a call forwarding number and you've been sending them, calls for the last month or two, say, hey, here's a list of every call I sent you. Hope you've noticed an increase in business. I'm not asking for anything in return other than 5 minutes of your time. That's it. And with a high-end client, you've most likely given them thousands of dollars worth of potential business. then boom, you've got yourself a client. And I say that because if you're starting out fresh, you don't have a repertoire of past clients and all that. So this is doing two things at once. It's increasing your own personal confidence while getting a client because you already have a tangible offer for them. Like they're like, oh, shit, well, I don't want the calls to stop. So yeah, I'll pay you whatever to keep them coming. And then from there, now you can go on to new potential clients, whether it's a BNI, networking, whatever. Say, hey, yeah, I'm doing this because you have the personal confidence of knowing, hey, I've done this. And then also I have clients and they don't need to know how you got them. So that was a quick way. I mean, guys, shoot, I did this, Fletch? I hadn't met David yet, real close, but I met Fletch right after this. Actually, no, actually, I met you right before that, remember? Yeah. So when I met Fletcher, we were sitting next to each other, like he said earlier, at this first thing, I wasn't making a single dime off SEO, not a dime.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single client. But 5 months later, I think it was, when I came back from that deployment, not even, actually 3 months later, 3 months after that, meeting Fletcher in Nashville, I was back to Afghanistan. 3 months later, I had $7,000 a month coming in passively while working a 14-hour-a-day job 7 days a week.
Nice.
So that's just, there's a few things you just got there from all of us, a few different options, whatever works with your personality and your motivation and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make one more point, kind of like that Dallas SEO Geek, where that's kind of like a lead gen site. It's just where I monetize for leads. And to me, that is more of a long-term play. That is something that can happen quickly, and it's especially, I think, good if you are in a big city. I think you can also there's a lot of niche SEO to consider. But that is something that you're actually building towards, to where it's probably not going to pay you off right away. That's where it's sort of like you're going to get a lot of value out of that, but the value like that I put into Dallas SEO Geek, I get over many years. So since over the last like 4 or 5 years, I put very little time and energy into Dallas SEO Geek. I'll go many months without doing anything to it, and I still get leads that are worth a lot of money. Clients that are worth $20 or $50 or $75,000 a year will get from Dallas SEO Geek. But at the same time, like what Scott talked about, especially like go less with your marketing, find a really super qualified customer and really research them and really just go after them until they say no. I mean, I don't mean mean or anything, but really do your research and try to get to know them and do fewer, but do like more direct and catered marketing to them. That's probably going to be the fastest way. Like I would find these people and I would call them, but I would also send them a DVD with a video on it. I might even send them, you can send like, so whoever's like, there's a lawyer sending to them, you know what alma mater he went to, you can see it on LinkedIn, get him a plush toy or a mug of his alma mater. You know, that, with the lettering.
That know, like, and trust thing, David, goes both ways. If you know, like, and trust them, it's much easier for them to reciprocate.
Yeah.
That's why that research goes so far.
It's flattering, and you'd be surprised at how few people actually do their homework. How few people are emailing them. I mean, it's not few people. It's how many. I mean, I get emails for websites that are ranking really well. That hey, you can rank in Google. It's like clearly they haven't done their homework. Clearly they're just mass emailing everybody. Yep. So you really differentiate yourself when you show that you've done a little bit of homework. Yes, you can be on the internet and it can be a little creepy, but by and large in business, there's not really a whole lot of creepy. You're not showing up at their house. You can show up at their business. It's their thing of business. Why not? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about doing this.
There's nothing creepy about it at all. I mean, just the fact that somebody responds. If they respond, who gives a shit? Really? Like if I cold email somebody and say, hey, go blue, and then, send them a little something in the, like a sticker, even a bumper sticker, that catches their attention enough because people love to talk about themselves. They love their past. They love their history. They love what they do. They love where they went to school. They just like that attention. They will reach out to you. They will, even if they say, hey, I'm kind of creeped out. Even if they say that, I'm kind of creeped out. How'd you know? What's going on here? Do you know somebody I know? And that's when you say, no, I simply went on LinkedIn. I found a little bit about you. You seem like somebody I'd like to do business with. But right there, you've already done the first, biggest, hardest step. You're talking to them. You have a conversation. And as long as you're not creepy after that, you got
Right.
yourself somebody.
I mean, really, if you have enough conversations with real potential customers, where at some point you ask for money, eventually somebody's going to say yes, unless you have like you're making huge mistakes, like Fletch said, you have broken windows, or you're saying really horrible things. Eventually, you'll still, even if your sales process doesn't have to be perfect, you'll still eventually make some sales there.
And even eventually, if you're a shit salesman, you realize that, you embrace that. Hey, I'm just not good at speaking to people. I'm a shit salesman. Well, you get a few people, you get enough people involved, and then you start a commission-based process where you just hire people to sell for you. So if you're really good at what you do, say, hey, you know what? For every lead you convert, or every person that converts over, here's $300 plus 10% of that client for life, or whatever. You have other people sell for you.
I've thought, and I haven't done this yet, but I think it would be, if I wanted to put the time and energy into it, it's a pretty big commitment. But you could hire, so you could pick an industry like here in Dallas, or like lawyers, where it's heavily male dominated, or female, you can go the other way, and hire a young, cute girl salesman and send them to their offices. They're going to get their attention. They're going to at least talk to them. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do, because you have to hire someone, you have to navigate that. Which is why I haven't done it, because a lot of people just come to me. But if I wanted to grow my agency, I think that would be, especially right now with how people are starved for face-to-face contact, for real human contact, I think that would go really well.
Yeah.
That's another way that I would go about doing it. But that one's a little bit more expensive. But long-term, that can, if you get a good salesperson with good systems, that person could make you.
Well, and that thing, going back to like what I kind of spit out, is like, okay, like stand alone. Like that's one of the components of the sales cycle, the conversion cycle. How are you going to stand alone? Like Scott was talking about, send a gift basket after having done some research and knowing where they went to school or what. Okay, well, show up to their door.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is emailing them, have no idea about who they are or whatever. Go to their door and know something about their business, and realize they're on page 2 for all these big money terms, and they just need to do a few things with their website to get it in the traffic, right? To get them more revenue, to get them more calls. And just standing alone is massive. And you can do that in a bunch of different ways. But depending on your personality and who you are and all that kind of stuff, but your personality is largely luck, based on how you grew up and who you're around and what you got influenced by and all that kind of thing. And you can change that. Like I used to hate talking. I was so quiet. Now David can barely keep me from shutting up most of the time.
I have chaos in me as well, but sometimes I have to put the reins back on myself as well. But
and so it's just like, if you really like, so that kind of formula that I laid out was something David Mills helped me see. And I really understood it and understood why it was true. You need to stand alone. Like in some way, you need to be something that no one else, that there's not a place for in the other person's mind that's already occupied. Like when you can do that, like whatever that takes, however you go about doing it, there's probably a million plus one ways of doing that. But when you can do that, you're in their mind now. And every time they think about this or that or whatever, that gets triggered, like, oh, you know what, that one guy or that one girl or whatever.
Yep.
Right. Like that's why it's so important. And then if you're not a screw up and you respond to calls,
Right.
more frequently, and you've got a clear offer, right, that has value in it, and when you talk, you add context about why you came to them and what you're about and why you're doing this and all that kind of thing. That is the essence of getting clients. That is the essence of conversion.
and talking to people you already deal with, even if you don't know them. My dentist is a client. My proctologist is a client. I won't tell you why.
That's a story. That's a story for the event.
That's a story for the event. My 4-wheel drive guy. So I was a big off-road guy. Well, I currently have a lifted truck, but back in the day, I used an off-road Jeep, and I just love that Jeep. And anybody who off-roads knows you're going to break some shit. And there happens to be, one of the top off-road shops in the entire country is right here in Colorado. Shocking, in the mountains. And this guy, I spent probably 15 grand with him over like a 2 or 3 year period, probably 2 year period, on just repairs and upkeep and whatnot. But every time I just kept that conversation going, hey, how's the SEO going? And he had a person. And sure enough, after about 2 years, he calls me up. He says, did you ever not do something and regret it? I said, no, I'm perfect. Never. He just laughed. He laughed. He says, well, I don't know why I waited so long, but I want to use you. And this is a few years ago now. I have now made probably $300,000 from that one guy, and he's still a client of mine today, a very loyal client who has gotten me other clients because he has his friends he refers me to. So
there, Scott, is when you like networking is not just networking. Like, who has the money to spend $80,000 on an off-road car, truck, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
These are people with money, likely own
exactly.
businesses. That's
exactly
how that, like, networking is just not just meeting people randomly. Like, it can be, but there's a very specific reason that I go to very high-end bars in the most expensive areas in Phoenix in the morning, because those people are not at work.
That's exactly
whoever I'm meeting. These are people who have some stuff going on, right?
That's what I did 2 years ago. Exactly the same thing. Every Friday morning, I would go golfing at this private country club, and I would go by myself. So anybody knows anything about golf is when you go, especially at a deep, like a really nice place, they never allow you just to golf through by yourself. It doesn't happen. They put you up with 1, 2, or 3 people, because it's usually 4-person groups to fit everybody in. So I do that on Friday mornings because who else is fucking golfing on a Friday morning? Probably people with money, with dollars. Either they own their own businesses,
didn't have to go to work this morning,
or they're retired and know people with money. And so, and what do you do in 3.5 hours in a golf cart? You talk, you shoot the shit, you get to know, like, and trust each other. And then eventually business always comes into play, and you get to know these people.
Like, it'd be like, you don't meet a girl for the first time and ask her to have sex like right then and there. Well, maybe but like, you wouldn't want to have all this time. Look at it, every relationship is like a long-term building process, and it'll come about naturally.
And then put yourself in the right situation to win, right? The game that you want to win, and not like beating somebody else, but like you want to succeed, right? Okay, well, you need to think about that a little bit, right? Yeah.
So Aaron asks an interesting question. I'm not sure we're going to be able to address it super directly. It's just running on over 2 hours, and my brain is starting to slow down. But I do appreciate everybody who's still here asking questions. So definitely props to all of you who are here. So he asks about sort of like our monthly income. So I really think the question comes down to our ability to be location independent, and how long could you take off travel if you wanted to? How many hours would you have to work per day if you went on a 3-month trip to wherever? Okay, so there's a lot of things to unpack in this question, and there's a lot of it depends. There's a lot of how much over time any business unmanaged, well, not any business, but a lot of businesses are going to degrade to some degree. Like in different parts of my business, there's different levels that I could do this. With clients, the way I have it set up, if you have it set up to where you're not actually talking to your clients and that you're not the person that's selling it, then you can probably just let your team run it. But for me, I personally manage, at least I'm like the point of contact for my clients. Now I have fewer higher end clients, so I can manage that without like a whole lot of work. I could manage that remotely for a while. It might be a little awkward, but technically if I had my laptop in a place where the internet was, I could do it there. But like with the lead gen stuff, I could probably go 3 months without doing anything for lead gen and it could still be humming. Like I know Eric Fawcett with his business, there were times where he was just like, I'm just going to go to a fishing for like 3 weeks. And he just like went fishing.
So he did that 2 weeks ago. He came out here to Denver and we spent the day riding 4-wheelers or whatever, razors through the mountains and having just a week of fun. Like, yeah, he could just, and it was literally the day before. He and his girlfriend decided, screw it, let's go.
Yeah, so part of that is he doesn't have kids as well. So
well, this is true. I don't have that luxury right now because I have kids, but yes, I could if I didn't have kids.
So there are ways in which you can design. It also depends on how you want to design your business. There are ways that are more hands-off that take longer to build up, but that eventually you'll have kind of more value and more choice. The good news is that with all the paths that we have way more autonomy than most people do in their business. And so our ability to choose exactly what we work on a day-to-day basis is much greater. And so I think what you're speaking to, Aaron, here is freedom. And I personally love freedom. And even when I work really hard, I'm doing it for me and for my choice, and I don't feel not free because I can choose the little details as opposed to working for somebody else. Even if I make a shitload of money or even if it's low hours, I don't get to choose. Now that's kind of a double-edged sword. If choosing is hard for you or choosing is not something you want to do, then maybe it's not like the best path for you. So really, to answer your question is, at least for me, and I think for most of the people here, like we could probably take time off, or we could work. Definitely, we could work from wherever, assuming that our other kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, because like you've got to really dig into that question to understand exactly even what you're asking and what you want. I can work from any place on the planet that I have some bandwidth, and nobody ever calls me except my family or people that are close, like David or Scott or Eric or some other like friends. I never get a client call. There's never an emergency.
Right.
But I work, and I work because I want to be the best at this in the world. Like, period.
That's what my dad always said growing up. He says, I don't care what you do in life, son. I could care less. You could be a janitor,
yeah,
but you damn well better be the best damn janitor in the world. That's it.
And even maybe a nuance that I want to be the best at this that I can be. And here's the reason why. Because that's how I'm going to be able to make sure that I'm taken care of forever. Right. And I've been doing this for 10 years and I've made like almost embarrassing amounts of money to myself. Like,
yeah.
And I'm only now opening up this whole different area of the way I look at doing this. So I'm not watching Netflix and YouTube. I'm doing this because this is more intriguing to me. This is funner for me to do than that other stuff. Doesn't mean I don't go spend time with my wife and my kids and play around and watch movies and do that kind of thing. But I work. It's not because I necessarily have to, but I have to if I want the thing I'm after.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question really is about, what are you after? Like, what do you want? Like, okay, if you want the lifestyle business, you can do that, and it might not be that hard. I want to be the best I can be at this thing. And I'm not there yet. So I probably, I don't know, right? But I probably work more than people would assume that I would have to. Because
Agreed.
I've got money coming in, I've got properties set up, phones are ringing, I've got an agency I own, my partner runs completely. I do quarterlies on finance for the agency. That's it. but I'm in-house with an agency with over 100 clients and 1,000 more websites they manage. And that lets me sink my teeth in to a different degree to build myself up to the capacity of whatever my capacity is. And I have no idea where that is. Like,
Yep. That's well
and
said up.
so
Just
it
everybody's
depends.
different.
Yeah, everybody's different. It depends on what, and so it's not how much do you have to work. Well, I don't have to work at all. I could go get a piece of cardboard, stand on street. Like those people are working too.
In Office Space,
What do you want? And how do you want to get there? Right?
there's that character that was like, well, you don't have to have $1 million to do nothing. My cousin's broke as shit. He sits around and
Dude, that guy with the mullet, right? Yes, I love that movie.
So you don't
No,
need
and it doesn't matter if you make a lot of money or a little bit of money. I did nothing for like 3 years, making 20 grand a month, on average, literally
Yes.
doing nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, I had a good
I-
time for a short term,
exactly.
but then I got bored and I got fat and I got lazy and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like this. I'm not really that happy
Yeah,
doing it. This isn't happiness.
I don't want this for the rest of my life. Like the thing with my brain injury and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
had I not done what I'd done before that, that would have wiped who knows what out.
No.
But I had money,
Yeah.
and money was still coming in. So I quite literally did not work for 2 years
Yeah.
at all. Like zero productive value creating work for 2 years.
Aaron, there's a really important perspective change that needs to happen if you're going to do this business. And it's going from like an hourly mindset to a building mindset. And
Yeah.
when you are building, you're investing in your future, but also you can't kind of go halfway. If you go to build a house and you build it halfway, is it livable? No, there's an arc, a set of things of moving parts that need to be put together here. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Hey, we got another question here. What are your Sergio, sorry, trying to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. What are your thoughts on doing white label to start, since I don't feel strong about SEO but want to sell it? Do you recommend against this? Okay, actually I can speak directly to this because when I first got started in 2011, I did do white label for SEO and other things. And for me, a big change was when it was not good, first of all. Second of all, it's hard to sell something that you don't really know a whole lot about. So building your SEO skills is actually going to help your sales skills. And what really was a big change for me was so this white label sold not just SEO, but all the kind of digital marketing stuff, was when I focused in on SEO and when I decided that I'm actually going to get really good at it. And that's what's great about also the Dallas SEO Geek, where I'm doing some agency site. It's actually a case study, this ranking that. You can throw a lot of stuff out at it. And if it ranks, you actually can potentially get clients from it. So, and I know a lot of people that have gotten a lot of clients from that way. So I personally don't think white labeling is where you should go. There's kind of this thing, there's a story about, I think it was Gateway, the computer company, in the 90s. What they did was like from like a financial standpoint, when you outsource something, when you take it out of what you're actually doing and you give it to somebody else, you save money. But over time, what happened with Gateway is they weren't competent at anything. They were outsourcing everything. You need to have at least one thing that is sort of like a core competency. And really, I think you can kind of, you can't have like 100, but you could probably have 2 or 3.
It kind of almost goes back to the last question. Like, I want to be the best I can be at SEO. So like figure out like kind of what you want to be the best at. And then if it turns out that white label is the right way to do it, maybe, but it wasn't for me either. Like I tried that.
For me, it's a lot easier to actually become an expert and talk confidently about it and be able to kind of point some of the nuance that goes on versus trying to be the best salesperson but not really knowing a lot about SEO. You can be successful that way, but I think it's a lot harder personally. And
Agreed. You got to be a badass salesperson to be able to get away with that properly. You got to know how to speak the language. You might not be the best at SEO, but if you can speak it and you're a badass salesperson, go for it. You're your own salesperson. You instead of hiring a salesperson, because that's who we hire, a lot of agencies. They can talk smartly enough on it. So if you're good enough at that, I say go for it, man. But again, if you're that good of a salesman, shit, you can sell anything. You can
Yeah.
sell ice cubes to an Eskimo. So maybe sell something else for somebody else and not have to have the headache of owning, running your own agency.
Well,
Yeah.
and like even if you like I don't want to say like understand, like I don't necessarily think I'm smart, but I've got a certain method of asking questions that helps me really
He's-
understand what I'm asking. Right, David, go ahead. You had something to
No,
say.
I was saying, yeah, no. You have a certain way of
Yeah.
asking questions that's useful.
Yeah, and so we're okay. What does white label mean? Right, that's something to understand, right? Because it's a term out there, and a lot of people use it. But like, if you really understand what that concept is, what does it mean? It means you're doing something, a very specific thing. Probably it should be. Well, you're doing a thing for somebody else that has the relationship with your end client, right? The person that ends up getting the benefit. But you still have a client, which means you've sold them on your ability to fulfill a certain thing. And if you can do that for somebody who knows how good you are at what you're doing, all likelihood you could tweak that a little bit and have them as a client, the end client, without that much extra work. Like it feels like, oh, well, then I don't have to deal with clients or this or that or the other. But as we've talked about, like there's different ways to build your like actual business where maybe you don't have to talk to clients. Like right now, I don't have to talk to clients. Like I don't have to worry about the phone calls or the emails or the whatever. They're just someone else is handling those. And that's kind of one of the reasons I think why people are like, oh, I'm going to white label this because I'm just providing a certain service. It's like software as a service, right? The other people are going to sell this to whoever they do business with, and they're going to use it in their own business or whatever. And I'm going to hire a bunch of staff to manage the chat and the interface between people who bought my software and who need questions asked about it. Like there's invaluable like nuggets of really, really good stuff on getting clarity on what that means. And maybe you already have, but for anybody else who might be listening, what is white label? Like think about it. Like really get clear on what you mean by that. Can you white label to 100 different companies? And if you can, why are you doing that? Like what if you can sell 100 companies what you do, at least one person in each of those companies made a decision to say yes to you. That means you can have 100 clients. If you've got 100 clients, you're making a lot of money. I think it comes. So there's, from my experience, and screw that. I've got a lot of experience in this, right? I've worked with people all over the world, and some people are like they're just getting in the industry and they're kind of shy about approaching somebody and selling an actual client, or they think there's a language barrier, or they don't think they understand how to convert and sell the right way or whatever. Okay, that's your belief, right? That is how you're going to operate. I can read your mind if I watch what you do. Your belief is going to determine how you act. It doesn't mean that that belief is where you can actually operate. And changing that belief and where those limits are, like getting out of the box and all that, whatever term you want to use for that, if you're able to white label to 2 or 3 companies, you are 100% capable of getting 2 or 3 clients, if not more. And you're going to make a lot more money, and you're likely going to have less headaches because the company is not going to think they own you. Saying, oh, we sold this and now you have to change your whole process because you have to now do this thing for us. You can really, really clarify your offer and make it, this is exactly what we're going to do. And this is what you're going to get month to month to month. And this is what we're going to show you. Right.
Yeah.
And getting that clarity it's massively liberating, because the more clear you can get on each of these things that we all have, like shiny object syndrome and white labeling and paper lead and like all this stuff, it's like the more you can think about that and think about it clearly and really understand what it is, doesn't mean it's bad at all, but it can help you see things you might not have seen otherwise, unless you really drill down and got clear on those kinds of things. And it's one of the reasons, frankly, that I wanted to do the podcast with David. This is kind of the nature of our podcast. Like,
Right.
you know, like clarity.
Here's an
Understand,
idea.
seek understanding. Yeah.
If you really feel like you don't know SEO at all, maybe you could do the reseller as a very, very, very limited time stopgap. You hire them, you do it maybe once or twice, you see how they do it, and then you start building your own systems. I promise you your sales are going to be better if you and your team actually do the SEO in-house, because you're going to be able to speak to specific points. You're going to be able to speak about specific projects and how things were solved and issues that you ran into, as opposed to just the normal old stuff that most people say that like a salesperson who doesn't really know a lot of SEO is going to say, which is like, I'll get you on the first page of Google and stuff like that. That isn't going to land as well, probably. So definitely recommend against that. All right, we are at 2.5 hours. And I don't know about you.
I got a half a bag of Cheetos still, David.
Yeah. I think
we should probably wrap things up though.
Yeah, I got some asparagus to roast. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, if you guys have any, reach out to me. Thank you for those of you who are still with us: Sherilyn, Chandra, Sergio, Robert, Raymond, Paul, Joey.
You got a lot on still. Yeah.
Ivan, Hong, Gordon, Galen, Deb, David, DP, Chris, and Aaron. Thank you. I'm just trying to read them all. the few people that are with you. You're welcome, Chris. You're welcome, David. You're welcome, Joey. Just feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I do think that if you're serious about your business and you have an SEO business, that the Mastermind could be extremely valuable to you. I realize that it's not a fit for everybody, but definitely reach out to me if you have any questions about that or anything that we talked about on here. Yeah, so we briefly talked about Eric Fawcett, his business model. We didn't get a chance to go into it before he had to go, but I bet we could get him to talk a little bit more about it in a different context. So I realized that I promised that we would dig into it more than we actually did. So I'll find some way to make good on that promise one way or another.
And he does dig into it really deep, which of course the deep stuff will be live, because I've literally sat around campfire with him talking about it, and it's deep. So you're going to get some nuggets on something like this, but in person is the only way to go. And he never even spoke to me about it. And we're friends until we were in person, literally camping around a campfire.
Yeah, I'm pulling this out.
I heard about it myself, Scott, on that drive back from Nashville to Oklahoma. I was like,
"Yep,
oh my gosh, dude. Are you serious?" Okay. I get
it. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Put it that way. So that's kind of the gist of it. And I'll give you real quick, just Chris. I mean, he basically has his own business that he's systematized out. That he sells the leads to his own business, which means that he makes way more money with the leads than he would otherwise. If it was just a client, maybe making a couple thousand a month. But then he has to build this kind of business unit around it. So. We could talk more about that.
Effectively, he's the owner of a business that makes a lot of profit, and he knows SEO, and so he gets
and it's highly systematized
into that.
So he doesn't have to run the business.
He's the owner, right? Everything runs, and all he is really doing is being responsible for the amount of money that comes into that via search engine optimization and the other stuff he does, which is some other stuff. But yeah, I'll let it, that it's his story, not mine.
Yeah. And we're running late. So thank you, everybody. And please reach out if you have any questions. Have a great day. Bye now.
See y'all.